Sports is what we do.
You're in your car, you're in your house, you're wherever you are. You're a sports fan.
97.3 ESPN.
Because if you weren't a sports fan, you wouldn't be listening.
WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a Friday. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on Mike Gill on 973 ESPN FM. Glad to have you guys on board the show today. Yes, it is Friday. It's been a long week for a lot of people. It's a hot week.
Thank God it's
as well this week. I know I'm certainly looking forward to the weekend. I know a lot of you out there as well. Hope you're staying safe out there wherever you're going. You're traveling, driving, coming down to the shore, driving around the area. Stay safe out there. Take your time. Stay hydrated. Glad to have you guys on board the show today. Busy Friday show. Press of Atlantic City's Mike McGarry joins us at 2:40 p.m. Ryan Rothstein from the Philadelphia CityCast at 3 p.m. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press covers the NFL at 3:25. Adam Caplan, NFL Insider for Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Happy Hour Friday with Pete Thompson at 5 p.m. and CBS Sports NFL writer Jeff Kerr at 5:30. And you guys out there can join the conversation. As always, 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City. Well, the countdown is on to the start of Eagles training camp, and there's been a lot of non-Eagles football news this week that we will touch on throughout the show. Plus, Phillies are back in action this weekend with a Friday through Sunday set. And I want to go to the NFL first before we get to the Phillies, because there was a question asked yesterday later in the show that, to be perfectly honest, I didn't spend a ton of time on because it came on later in the show and the way the show, yesterday, the topic of the Sixers arena situation dominated about 4 hours of the day. So we didn't really get to this yesterday, but I thought the question from Colin LBI brought up a great point yesterday, because the news came out right before I went on the air yesterday at 2:00 that Kyler Murray received this new contract. Remember, he was threatening to boycott or not show up to camp. He was angry with the Cardinals. He scrubbed his social media. There were a lot of reports of issues with him in the organization. Well, he got his money. He got $160 million guaranteed. He has a chance to make up to $230.5 million. And I was mentioning yesterday's show that right now there's only 2 quarterbacks in the NFL with fully guaranteed contracts. That every dollar in their contract is fully guaranteed. And their names are not Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. It's Deshaun Watson and it's Kirk Cousins. And the reason why I bring up those names is because, one, Deshaun Watson's name has to be in the conversation, because the reason why Kyler Murray got the contract that he did was to say, look, he's getting $500,000 more than Deshaun Watson can. That's the reason why it's 230.5. They wanted the 0.5 thrown in there to basically the Cardinals say, look, we are so happy with Kyler Murray, we're going to give him barely more money than Deshaun Watson can make. And Cole from LBI's question is completely legitimate, which is where I get to Kirk Cousins in a minute. Because Cole and LBI asked, well, if Kyler Murray got this contract, what does that mean for Jalen Hurts? And it's a great question, Because one of the things that gets overlooked about Jalen Hurts is that him and Kyler Murray both played their final years of college in the same offensive system. Okay? And they were both transfers. People forget Kyler Murray transferred from Texas A&M to Oklahoma. Jalen Hurts transferred from Alabama to Oklahoma. They both played for Lincoln Riley. My mind went blank there for a second. So you have a guy in Kyler Murray who went number 1 overall and was considered this elite talent coming out of college. In 2018, he had 42 touchdowns and 7 interceptions at Oklahoma. Jalen Hurts the next year had 32 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Not an extreme difference. Jalen Hurts threw 69.7% of his passes completed. Kyler Murray, 69%. Virtually identical. So it's not like there's this vast difference between what Jalen Hurts can do and Kyler Murray can do. And by the way, for the rushing stats, Kyler Murray, 12 rushing touchdowns in 2018. Jalen Hurts, he had 20 rushing touchdowns in 2019. They both rushed for over 1,000 yards. By the way, Jalen Hurts also caught a touchdown in college. Kyler Murray never did that, but that's really the biggest difference you can find between their Oklahoma seasons. Now, they're very different builds. Kyler Murray is, on a good day, 5'10", 5'11", and 200 pounds. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts is 6'1" or 6'2", depending on who you ask, and somewhere between 225 and 235. So Jalen Hurts is built more like a tank, and Kyler Murray is built more like Robert Griffin III, right? So when we're seeing the Kyler Murray, who's never won a playoff game, Kyler Murray has struggled multiple seasons the last few weeks of the season. But he got $160 million guaranteed. And Kyler Murray's best year, again, depending on who you ask, it probably was last year. Only 10 interceptions, 69% completion percentage. But he's only 22, 23, and 1 as an NFL quarterback. Now, if he gets all this money, well, what does that say about Jalen Hurts? If Jalen Hurts steps up the way the Eagles expect him to, right? You acquired his best friend, A.J. Brown, to play wide receiver. This is the first time since he was in high school that he's had back-to-back years with the same offensive coordinator, the same play caller, the same everything. Every year in college, you get a different everything. Different coordinator, different offensive, sometimes even different terminology. And then the same thing in the NFL. Doug Peterson and Nick Sirianni. Now he's got the same thing. So he has stability. He has better talent around him. And the expectation is the offensive line has a chance to be even better this year because Dickerson has a full offseason of being healthy, not just recovering from an injury. And Mailata, this will be his second camp where he will be projected to be the starting left tackle. So the perspective is, as Jalen Hurts enters his second season as a starting quarterback, as Jalen Hurts has a better team around him, a better environment, a better structure around him, how much can he jump from a 16 touchdown, 9 interception season? Well, Kyler Murray, from year 1 to year 2, went from 20 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. 20 touchdowns, 26 touchdowns, same number of interceptions, 12. So if we were just to project that kind of production onto Jalen Hurts, then let's assume he goes to 22 touchdowns and 10 interceptions this season. Just throwing out numbers. Let's say they win one more game with him at quarterback or two more games with him at quarterback. That would mean that after this season, Jalen Hurts' career record would be 19-17, while Kyler Murray's is 22-23-1. Again, we're getting into this range where we're not seeing this extreme difference between the two. The difference is the potential. The difference between Kyler and Jalen is Kyler Murray has elite arm talent. He was drafted to be a pitcher in baseball. He's got the physical ability to make throws that almost nobody is able to make and do things that almost nobody is able to do. That's why he's looked at a certain way. Which brings me back to the other quarterback who has guaranteed money, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, not a first overall pick, not even a second round pick like Jalen Hurts is. He was a fourth round pick. But what does Kirk Cousins have that a lot of these other guys don't have? Well, number one, Kirk Cousins has actually won a playoff game, unlike Kyler Murray. Kirk Cousins, in his career, now chew on this for a minute, he has 6 out of 7 seasons with 4,000 plus passing yards. In fact, from 2015 to 2021, Kirk Cousins is averaging over that period of time 29 touchdowns and 10 interceptions per season. He's averaging 4,223 passing yards a season. He has 100 quarterback rating over that stretch of games. And Kirk Cousins is averaging almost 16 games played per season. There's a couple seasons that he didn't play the full slate. Kirk Cousins has a guaranteed money on his contract. So when you think about Kirk Cousins and his numbers, if Jalen Hurts hits somewhere between Kirk Cousins and Kyler Murray, what does that mean? Kirk Cousins currently this season, he's going to have a cap number of $31 million. He has a guaranteed salary of $15 million and a prorated bonus of $16 million, giving him over almost $32 million this year. $10 million roster bonus as well. You have a guy in Kirk Cousins who's going to make, at the end of the year, $32 million. Based on roster bonus, based on base salary, guaranteed money, the whole 9 yards. When Kirk Cousins signed his current contract, it was with the idea that he would be getting a payout over a 12-month period of $40 million guaranteed. Now, I know what you're thinking out there. In your car, listening on 97.3 ESPN FM, listening on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Wherever you're listening to the sound of my voice, appreciate you joining me today. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash. What you're thinking is Kirk Cousins is not worth $33 million a year guaranteed. But guess what? That's what he's getting paid. He is going to make over a 3-year period $96 million. Kirk Cousins. Not Aaron Rodgers, not Deshaun Watson, not Tom Brady. Kirk Cousins. So if Kirk Cousins is getting crazy amounts of money, right, that he is going to make guaranteed money through next year. Now, he'll be 35 after next year. That's when the guaranteed money ends for him. And to be frank with you, I think Kirk Cousins will never see a guaranteed contract again, not because of his play, but because of his age. I don't know what Jalen Hurts is capable of because we've only seen one instance where Jalen Hurts has really had the opportunity to fully step up to the plate in a passing offense. And that was the 1 year at Oklahoma. At Alabama, they ran that RPO offense where he was running a lot. And then in Philadelphia, Doug Peterson brought him in late in the year. Nick Sirianni, brand new offense. So what can he be? I don't think it's unfair to say he could be somewhere between Kyler Murray and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins' worst year, not his best, his worst year in the last 7. He had 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and a completion percentage of 67%. Now, think about those numbers. 25, 12, and 67. That's his worst year in the last few years. Kyler Murray, 2 years ago, had 26, 12, and 67. Kyler Murray in 2020, statistically, on paper, had virtually the same numbers as Kirk Cousins' worst season in the last 7. So if Kirk Cousins can get a 3-year, $86 million guaranteed, and then a 2-year, $66 million guaranteed contract, and Kyler Murray can get $160 million guaranteed, then the simple answer, after all the information in front of us, is that if Jalen Hurts has a good year, he is going to get somewhere, and I say somewhere, between 130 and 160 million guaranteed contract. Guaranteed. Now, that might not be the full potential of the contract. It might be one of those 150 million guaranteed, up to 200 million potentially could make. Because that's what quarterbacks go for in the market. And again, I know some of you out there are listening are going to say Kirk Cousins doesn't deserve that money. Jalen Hurts doesn't deserve that money. But at the end of the day, the quarterback market is what it is. You are worth what someone is willing to pay you. And anybody with half a brain who represents Kirk Cousins, Jalen Hurts, is going to point to Kirk Cousins, is going to point to Kyler Murray, and say, my client is on the same tier as those guys. Now, keep all of this in mind. Next offseason, Jalen Hurts will not be the highest paid quarterback in the offseason. Because Lamar Jackson showed up to camp early this week, and he's on the last year of his rookie deal. If Deshaun Watson, who's never won a league MVP, got $230 million guaranteed. If Kyler Murray got $160 million guaranteed and doesn't have a playoff win, Lamar's got at least got a playoff win. Kyler doesn't. You and I are talking about what Jalen Hurts is going to make this offseason. Lamar Jackson's going to blow that out of the water. So again, we got to have context with these conversations. And that's why I love the question that Colin LBI asked late in the show yesterday that we didn't have a lot of time to get to. Think about this. Just chew on this for a moment before we hit the break. We'll check in on text in just a bit at 609-403-0973 is text where you can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday. If Jalen Hurts plays well, and I don't mean great, I'm not talking about an historic year. I'm just talking about 25-12. I'm talking about a 65, 66, 67% completion percentage. In a league where half the guys seemingly throw for 4,000 yards and have a 70% completion percentage. If Kyler Murray is able to get paid big money and he can't even hit some of those lofty numbers in his offense, and Jalen Hurts puts up numbers somewhere between Kyler Murray and Kirk Cousins, well, precedent is king, folks. Countdown the Eagles training camp. July 26th is the start of Eagles training camp. And we will have you covered all season long here on your home for Eagles football in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Of course, still to come, more football talk. Of course, Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press at 3:25. Football at 4 with NFL insider Adam Caplan at 4 p.m. CBS Sports NFL writer Jeff Kerr at 5:30. We'll get into the Phillies coming up in a little bit, as well as your thoughts and comments on the other side. DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app, thanks to First Bank of Seattle City. And you can text in at 609-403-0973. I'm Josh Hennig, filling in for Mike Gill, here on the Sports Bash. Happy Hour Friday on 973 ESPN.
When you need live sports play-by-play.
Forget it. Out of here. Reese Hoskins will touch them all over that right center field wall.
And the best sports talk in South Jersey. There's only one place to go. 97.3 ESPN.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. SpringfieldMitsu.com.
We're Town Square Media, and along with the awesome radio station you're listening to right now, we're publishers of best-in-class national entertainment brands like Taste of Country, Pop Crush, and more. And when combined with our local brands, we can reach over 70% of consumers in our community. At Town Square, all this digital clout puts us in a unique position to help local businesses grow with powerful marketing solutions. In addition to local radio, we're experts at web design and SEO, plus targetable advertising solutions like streaming TV, addressable geofencing, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Spotify, search engine marketing, and so much more. That may sound like a lot of buzzwords, but really all that matters is we can deliver a relevant and ideal target audience to your business with data-informed decisions. No guessing, no waste, and you gain a trusted marketing partner with Town Square Media.
Take your business to the next level. Call our Director of Sales, Jim McLean, today at 609-910-5247.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to get conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light. and give you possible solutions verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barata. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Meet Boost, the fizzing amazing vitamin boosts that make you feel like
I like to boost it, my vitamins can boost it. I like to boost it, we like to boost it.
Boost effervescent vitamins turn your H2O into H2O to give you a fizztastic feeling like
I like to boost it, my vitamins can boost it. I like to boost it, we like to boost it.
Because it's not just vitamins, it's Boost, the fizzing amazing vitamin boost.
Boost it.
School's out, but we're rewriting the math. 0 + 0 = one heck of a great deal at Matt Blatt Nissan. That's right, 0 down, 0 payments for 3 full months, and 0 mistaking. That only Matt Blatt Nissan has brand new 2022 Nissan Armadas, discounted $5,000 off, plus buy with peace of mind. With our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Don't see your Matt Blatt Nissan on the lot? Don't worry, you could be driving it home tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Plus, if you're stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. With 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 1.9% financing. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $479 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 8/7/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
2 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash being brought to you by Garden State Beer Company. At Garden State Beer Company in Galloway, their motto is a beer for everyone. Contact them today at 609-232-BEER. That's 609-232-BEER for the Garden State Beer Company. Talk a little Phillies this hour as well, coming up with Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City. Get your comments, though, now at 609-403-0973 on the text board. Cole from LBI follows up on his text from yesterday. So another thing to factor into this is if the Eagles win a playoff game this year and Hurts plays any sort of decent in those playoff games, that pushes him past Kyler Murray for a deal as well, as from Cole and LBI. Yeah, and I think that's part of the argument we're having here, which is, we are in a world where people get bent out of shape about the dollars that these athletes are making. And we forget that these athletes are getting paid all this money because other people are being paid all this money. Think about that. If the other quarterbacks were not making this kind of money, then there's no reason to pay Jalen Hurts the same money. And I think that's where the rub is. It's less about what these guys are worth, and it's more about what is the market calling for. To me, I look at Jalen Hurts and I see a guy who's never going to be the number 1 quarterback in the NFL. I'm just keeping it real with you guys, okay? I just don't think that when you have a situation like Jalen Hurts' potential contract, that you're going to sit there and not factor in what other quarterbacks around the league are getting paid, what they're worth, and what they're doing. What other people are doing has a huge impact on what you do, okay? You go for a job. What are you going to do? You're going to do research on that job. When you do research on that job, you're going to see what other people in your profession, in your industry are making. You're going to find out what the most is. You're going to find out what the least is. And you're going to find out what the median is. And you're going to hope that the job you're applying for offers you around what the medium average is, that median income for that job. And I think that if Jalen Hurts has an agent with half a brain, which I'm assuming he does, because he doesn't just represent Jalen Hurts, he represents other athletes as well. My assumption is that he's going to go into that meeting with the Eagles and say, look, my client put up these numbers, and these numbers are similar to these quarterbacks, and his team won this number of games. I told you guys, if the Eagles go 10-7 with Jalen Hurts this year, 10-7, that's not the craziest number in the world, right? They went 9-8 last year. I'm asking you to win one more game than last year. Guess what? Jalen Hurts is 2 games above 500 as a starting quarterback. Kyler Murray is 1 game below 500 as a starting quarterback. And for as much as people like myself have criticized and complained and been exasperated with the Deshaun Watson stuff, if we were to say that he gets completely vindicated and all that stuff, you're talking about a quarterback who has a 28-25 career record in the regular season, and he has 1 playoff win. That 1 playoff win is the same number of playoff wins as Kirk Cousins and Lamar Jackson. But right now, he has the most guaranteed money in the contract of any quarterback in the league, Deshaun Watson. Now, look, he has put up some incredible stats as a quarterback in this league. And if it wasn't for the legal situation that he's dealing with off the field and all of the civil cases and all of the bizarre accusations that are out there against him, we'd be looking at him differently. And that's why the contract that he got is such an eyesore. So when you look at Jalen Hurts, you have to remember that this is a guy who, when he goes to that contract table, I think the Eagles want him to be successful. I think he's going to be successful. The level of success, though, is going to dictate how that conversation goes. Because you and I both know that contract negotiations in any industry for any job, they get a little dicey. Good stuff from Cole from LBI chiming in at 609-403-0973 on the text board. We'll get to more of your texts a little bit later in the show. I want to transition over to the Phillies. We'll be talking some Phillies with Mike McGarry. We'll talk more football in the 3 o'clock hour with Ryan Rothstein for the Philadelphia CityCast and Rob Maaddi, Associated Press NFL reporter. So the Phillies are back in action tonight. All-Star break done. And I think that one of the things that's not getting talked about enough is that the Phillies All-Star snubs might be a blessing in disguise. Because without Nola and Wheeler at the All-Star game, without them pitching, they're in a better position moving forward to be ready for the second half of the season. And I think that rest is always good for these guys at this time of year. It's a long baseball season. A lot of these guys got to hit the reset button mentally and physically. And now you got this 3-game set with the Cubs, followed by a 3-gamer with the Braves. So 6 games at home now coming up here tonight through next Wednesday. We're counting down the days to the trade deadline. The Phillies have to show not just the front office, but themselves that the All-Star break is going to be a positive thing for them. That the All-Star break is going to benefit them. That the All-Star break is going to be an environment that is going to allow them to come back refreshed. Now, of course, I'm the same person that if they lose this game tonight 6-1, I'm going to lose my mind a little bit because I'm going to say you had all these days off. You're playing a Cubs team that's not very good, and you couldn't beat them on a Friday night at home. So it's a catch-22. On one hand, I'm sitting here and I'm saying today, hey, man, they can go and sweep this Cubs series. And then if they lose tonight, I'm going to be ripping in tomorrow saying, you couldn't beat a pitcher with a 4.15 ERA. But, you know, that's part of the downside of baseball, is it not? It's that when you look around, it's such a long season, but I'm a big believer in you got to win the games you're supposed to win. I think the Phillies should be able to sweep the Cubs. Now, I say that in part because Wheeler's going tomorrow, and the pitchers you're facing in this series, as I mentioned, tonight for the Cubs, you have Justin Steele. He's got a 4.15 ERA. Tomorrow, you have Marcus Stroman, a 4.69 ERA. And then former Philly Drew Smiley, who is a 4.22 ERA. There's no reason why you can't score runs on all of those guys. And you're talking about a Cubs team they're just not a good team. They're 35-57. They're basically in a rebuild. They are what the Phillies, were a few years ago. This is a team that is 25th in baseball in ERA as a pitching staff. 25th in WHIP. They have a .251 batting average against as a pitching staff. And they have only they're 30th in quality starts this year. You know what that says to me? That means you should sweep them. But like I said, when I walk in tomorrow morning around 9:30, 9:40 and see Billy Schweim tomorrow in his tan face and the Phillies lose tonight, I'm going to be complaining. Well, that's Mike McGarry about it coming up next. All that and more. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Filling in for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash. Don't forget the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
Your official station for Summer at the Shore.
Swing and a high fly ball, well struck left field. On its way, gone. Rhys Hoskins will touch them all. His 17th of the year.
97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Calling Philly sports fans. Travel with the pros at Philly Sports Trips. If you're a diehard Philly fan looking for some great Philly sports road trips, it's time to check out the full trip lineup at phillysportstrips.com.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. Jim Babette.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, you can actually speak another language. Es como magia.
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
To try Babbel free, text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
MVP's bonus days are here for pros. For 12 days, pros save big, and MVPs get even more. Because MVP's Pro Rewards members can earn bonus points to redeem for rewards. Earn points on every dollar spent up to $1,000 and get up to 3 times more points when you shop select brands and products. Find MVP's bonus day savings from July 11th to the 22nd in-store and online. Exclusively at Lowe's. Exclusively for pros. MVP's Pro Rewards program subject to program terms and conditions. Details on Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms. Subject to change.
Matt Blatt Kia wants to give you independence. Yes, independence. Like freedom from down payments, freedom from payments for 3 months, and freedom from your old car. Plus, if you have a job and clear $350 per week, Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today on any brand new Kia or pre-owned vehicle in stock, or one of hundreds of new 2023 Kia models en route, all with zero down and zero payments for 90 days. So bring any trade in any condition, even if you're stuck in a loan or lease. Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released. Get cash for your car today, even if you don't buy a car from us. But why wouldn't you buy a new Kia? Because you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Unapproved credit plus applicable taxes and fees. See dealer for details. Not all will qualify. Deferred payment through TFCU. Interest accrues from date of sale. Offers don't combine. Go to MattBlattKiaNJ.com for complete details. Expires 8/7/22. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Jersey Fresh tomatoes are the best. Secretary of Ag Doug Fisher here to announce that Jersey Fresh tomatoes are ripe and ready for sandwiches, burgers, salads, and sauces. Ask for local Jersey Fresh tomatoes.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Friday edition on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Phillies back in action. Sixers went up the news cycle yesterday. We'll get into all that and more right now with Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City joining us right now on the phone line here on 97.3 ESPN. Mike, how you doing today?
Hey, Josh, how are you?
Good. So let's get to the Sixers stuff first, because when I tell you that the Sixers dominated the audience's responses yesterday, it was practically overwhelming, the number of texts we got. So let's first get to James Harden. Your thoughts on Harden officially getting it done with the Sixers?
Well, I hear a lot of talk about James Harden and a lot of people asking, is it for real? But I think you have to take what he did at face for what it is. I mean, he could have opted in for $47 million this season. Instead, he elected to take $32 or $33 million, and that enabled the 76ers to go out and add to their rotation with some quality players without subtracting from their core. I don't think there's any doubt that the 76ers are a better basketball team today than they were in Game 6 against the Miami Heat, and that's because James Harden took less money. Now, does that mean we put James Harden in the Sixer Hall of Fame right away? No, we wait and see if he's in shape and how well he plays this upcoming season. But for right now, I mean, as far as starting off this season, he told us he would take less money, and that's exactly what he did.
When you think about if everything lines up, if James Harden is as healthy as he says he's going to be next year, if he's comes in the best shape of his life and he's motivated and all that good stuff, what is the Sixers' real potential this season, Mike?
I think they got a puncher's shot at winning the Eastern Conference and getting to an NBA final if everything breaks right. I mean, obviously the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics, I would put those two teams ahead of the Philadelphia 76ers right now. But if James Harden is healthy and better than he was last year, he doesn't have to be the James Harden of 2016 and 17. He's just got to be better than the James Harden we saw in Game 6 last year. If Tyrese Maxey takes another jump between his second and third season, and the biggest if of all, if Embiid can go into a playoff healthy and not only go in healthy, but survive that sort of 2-month playoff grind, I think the Sixers have as good a chance as anybody in the Eastern Conference. Would I put them ahead of the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks right now? No, I wouldn't. But would I be surprised if the Sixers were able to beat one of those teams in a 7-game series come next spring? I would not be surprised.
Now, with all that being said, the other Sixers news story that seemingly came out of left field, because we all expected the news when it came to James Harden to happen at some point. We knew it was coming. But the Sixers announcing that they're going to be building a new arena that will be their own arena that is supposed to open in 2031. Mike had a lot of the audience with a lot of different opinions yesterday. So I want to get your just straight up thoughts on the Sixers news from yesterday.
Well, first of all, if it happens by 2031, I'll be surprised because these things never seem to happen on time, right? So that'll be number one. Number two, I sort of like the idea of a downtown Center City arena. I know the pros and cons of the issue. I know that there's no designated parking lot in Center City. But I also know that, Madison Square Garden in Manhattan, there's no designated parking lot either. The TD Boston Garden in Boston, there's no designated parking lot either. If you have parking lots around or parking garages around an arena, it can work. It can definitely work. And, I just think it's a great atmosphere, a great setting. Businesses would pop up or prosper around there. I think arenas in city settings can work and would work here in Philadelphia, although I recognize it would be a big change from just driving over the Walt Whitman Bridge for people from New Jersey and then pulling immediately into a parking spot. I mean, it would be a sort of change, a big change as far as going to a game that way.
What do you say to the people who are concerned about potential price gouging with those parking garages? Because, Mike, here in South Jersey, you go to Wildwood, you go to Atlantic City, you go to a lot of short communities, you see crazy parking prices up and down the town on the weekends. Should there be legitimate concerns that people will try to do the same thing for Sixer games?
Hey, I mean, look, parking is expensive. It's an issue no matter where you go. For years, my family, we went to Yankee games, right? New York. I grew up in New York. We didn't want to pay $50 to park, or there wasn't places to park around Yankee Stadium. So we go park in downtown Manhattan, and we take the subway up, or we park on the street in Yonkers and take the subway to Yankee Stadium. So parking is going to always be an issue. It can be expensive, but it's just going to be something that people are going to have to deal with, the pros and cons of having a stadium in downtown Center City.
For the people like yourself, Mike, how does for the press, do you like the idea of the arena not being in the sports complex? Was the sports complex more convenient for you?
For me, first of all, I don't count. The press, we shouldn't count as far as this. But for me, there's nothing more convenient than where it is right now in South Philly. You come over the Walt Whitman Bridge, and boom, you're here. So for me, it would be more of a hardship, I guess, getting into Center City and parking in Center City and figuring all that out. Especially, I can only imagine the 7 o'clock game. You're going through Center City at 5 o'clock at night, trying to find a place to park. So for me, where it's located is just fine. I'm thinking more from a spectator point of view. Somebody wants to go out to dinner before the game, this and that, dinner after the game or something like that. I've been to Madison Square Garden, obviously, multiple times. I've been to the TD Garden in Boston multiple times, and it's just a fun atmosphere. So that's what I'm thinking about. For Mike McGarry, the reporter, it's a terrible idea. Let the Sixers stay across the street from where I am now at Citizens Bank Park. Let them stay at the Wells Fargo Center. So for Mike McGarry, the reporter, for a terrible idea. For Mike McGarry, the guy who maybe wants to go to a game with friends once or twice a year, good idea.
Mike McGarry, Press of Atlantic City, joining us here at AC Press McGarry on Twitter. Now, the other point with the arena, Mike, I want to ask you about is this is all going to be privately funded. This is not going to be any public money, no taxpayer money involved. How big is that part of it?
Well, I think that's big. I mean, I'm against towns or cities probably funding, millionaires and billionaires building buildings. I mean, Josh Harris has enough money. I'm sure he can pull this off. Now, don't be naive or anything. At the end of the day, there's going to have to be roads that are built and probably some development around the arena that will be paid for by the government of Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. But overall, the 99% of this cost, or the brunt of the cost, I think is for the owners because they're going to benefit from it.
Mike, over at PressOfAtlanticCity.com, your latest must-win column digs deeper into Atlantic City's hiring of Wayne Nelson as their new coach. For decades, it was Gene Allen roaming those sidelines, and now it's going to be Wayne Nelson. I love the fact that you put the context of, Nelson knows that this is going to not be an easy job.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy job. First of all, it's not easy to coach Atlantic City, even if you've got a talented team, which the Vikings usually do. Expectations are high. They expect to win every game they play, no matter who they're playing. If Atlantic City were to play the Golden State Warriors, there's a portion of the Atlantic City fan base that would expect the Vikings to shut down Steph Curry and beat the Golden State Warriors. So we all know that's not the case. But this is a team that's been a program that's been really impacted by COVID the past 2 years. They would have been very good in 2021, but they only played 7 games because of COVID. Other teams were able to play 15 games that season. Atlantic City only played 7. And last year, the impact of COVID kind of impacted who could play last year. And they were 4-13 last year, only their third losing record in, I think, 54 years or something like that. So while Atlantic City is a traditional basketball powerhouse, Wayne is walking into a tough situation because these big Group 4 schools like Trenton, like Elizabeth, they have struggled to rebuild after some down seasons, and now Atlantic City finds itself in that position with Wayne Nelson.
I love how you point out also in your must-win column over at PressOfAtlanticCity.com, Mike, that, part of Nelson's job is going to be saying, hey, don't go to Holy Spirit. Don't go to the Prep. Don't go to St. Joe's. Stay here in Atlantic City. Don't do the school choice. And Nelson, being an Atlantic City guy originally, should be able to help in those conversations, right?
Right, exactly. 2 things there. The job of any sort of public school coach is try to keep the kids that would normally go to the school and not have them go to public, not have them go to private schools or even other public schools that are choice schools. So Atlantic City is also a choice school. So, if Nelson gets the program up and running quickly, Atlantic City can attract kids from out of the area who might want to go play for a prestigious program like Atlantic City. So the choice school thing and keeping kids in the district at your own school kind of works both ways. The other point I think is a key point. I think one of the big reasons Gene Allen was successful as Atlantic City high school boys basketball coach is because he understood Atlantic City, understood the tradition, understood the community. was part of the community, lived in Atlantic City, worked in Atlantic City. I think that's a big part of the success. Wayne Nelson is the same way. You know, his grandfather, George Nelson, has a plaque on Ohio Avenue kind of commemorating his 30-plus years of service to the Atlantic City Police Department. You know, Wayne grew up in Atlantic City. He went to Holy Spirit, which coincidentally so did Gene Allen, so maybe there's a little karma there. But, you know, Wayne knows the Atlantic City basketball tradition, knows the fans, knows the people of the community, and I think that's a huge factor in being successful in Atlantic City. I think it's tough to come in from the outside and coach the Atlantic City high school boys basketball team and sort of learn on the fly what Atlantic City's about. I think it's a prerequisite that you already have that knowledge.
More of Mike McGarry's must-win columns over at pressofatlanticcity.com. Mike, great stuff. Appreciate you jumping on, and enjoy your week off. You and Gil have the same week off, and then you both will be back in August.
All right. Good enough, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Josh Hennig filling in for the aforementioned Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Still to come, Ryan Rothstein for the Philadelphia CityCast. Rob Maaddi, Associated Press NFL writer. Football at 4 with NFL insider Adam Caplan. All still to come. And your text to get to 609-403-0973 on the text board. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. Happy Hour Friday. Also, we'll review our poll question from yesterday. Very interesting outcome after the votes came in after the show yesterday.
This weekend on ESPN Radio.
Swinging a high fly out to deep left field. Pete Alonso goes yard into the bullpen.
With the All-Star break behind us, we head to Citi Field in Queens, New York, where the NL East leading New York Mets welcome Manny Machado and the San Diego Padres. The Mets and Padres. Coverage begins tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern. Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
Matt Black Kia wants to give you independence. Yes, independence. Like freedom from down payments, freedom from payments for 3 months, and freedom from your old car. Plus, if you have a job and clear $350 per week, Matt Black Kia wants to approve you today on any brand new Kia or pre-owned vehicle in stock, or one of hundreds of new 2023 Kia models en route, all with zero down and zero payments for 90 days. So bring any trade in any condition, even if you're stuck in a loan or lease. Matt Black Kia wants to get you released. Get cash for your car today, even if you don't buy a car from us. But why wouldn't you buy a new Kia? Because you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
On approved credit plus applicable taxes and fees. See dealer for details. Not all will qualify. Deferred payment through TFCU. Interest accrues from date of sale. Offers don't combine. Go to MattBlackKiaNJ.com for complete details. Expires 8/7/22. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Tom's River.
This is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sound experiment. We're looking to find the perfect way to hear Reese's so you'll buy more of them. Here we go. Reese's, 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 Reese's. Hey, get out of here, you little stinker. Reese's.
Reese's. Reese's.
Peanut Butter Cups. That breathy one sounded very creepy, am I right?
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
So I used the savings from switching to Progressive 30 years ago to buy tickets to the championship game. You know, between those two teams that didn't exist 30 years ago. Yeah, I'm a big Alaska Palm Trees fan. Which is a team now in the future?
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Alert! We're under construction at Sport Hyundai in Egg Harbor. It's time to make room for our new and improved facility. And you're the big winner. We're clearing out inventory with our incredible construction reduction sale. New Santa Fe's, Tucson's, and more in stock and priced to move today. With Hyundai Assurance and America's best warranty, including the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Use our main entrance on Black Horse Pike. Construction reduction deals are once in a lifetime, and this inventory won't last. See for yourself in person or at sporthyundai.com.
Sports is what we do.
Nail the trifecta.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Not Mike Gill, Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a Friday edition of the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City. This is the kind of day that is perfect for Ryan Rothstein to come on the show, because it feels like there's way more topics to talk about than we have time for. So we're going to try to get to as many with the host of the Philadelphia CityCast and my former co-host, for those who may or may not remember those days. Ryan Rothstein joins me right now at Wise Rye on Twitter here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Ryan, how's it going?
It's going well. Yeah, you know, that lead is buried way too often. That, you know, you and I were the dynamic duo once upon a time.
Well, it gets buried because it's almost like a forgotten memory, because like everything else that's happened in the last few years, people don't even know what day it is or what year it is half the time. As Ryan just froze on the we were just doing so well there. And Ryan just froze there. You got you now, Ryan?
Yeah, sorry. The connection was strong. I don't know what happened there.
That was so funny. I literally said that. That was the moment you froze.
Yeah, it was like saying Beetlejuice 3 times. I don't know what happened.
Right, exactly. All right, a bunch of things I want to get to with you. First of all, we had a ton of reaction yesterday. I mean, the text board was a flood for 4 hours of people wanting to respond to not the James Harden news, the Sixers announcing the new arena. So I want to start there with you, because you're a guy, you know, who you're old enough to remember things, but you're young enough to still be in touch with the modern generation. So what is your perspective on a new arena for the Sixers and where it's located?
I love it. I mean, what's the issue here, people? Well, first off, I apologize. I missed your official opinion on it and stance on it. I caught the McGarry conversation, but I didn't get your full stance. Are you for it or against it, or neither?
I'm for it because it's privately funded. My only beef with it is I'm a little worried about the price gouging that could happen, because here in South Jersey, you know, we went into this more yesterday, but, you know, you go to Wild, when you drive up and down the street, you know, one lot's 15, one lot's 25, same thing in Atlantic City. Like, how many times have we all gone to concerts and we're like, hey, my buddy's got a gold card at this casino. We're going to park at that casino and walk over to the actual location of a concert.
Yeah, I mean, listen, fair. Everyone's going to look at this differently for a variety of reasons, a ton of different reasons. Someone's going to feel for or against it. For the parking thing, I mean, I don't want to say that's life, but that's like, listen, it's America, supply and demand. I mean, these events, the parking, if you own a parking lot privately, or if you're part of whatever events going on, like, that comes with the territory. Does it make it okay? Doesn't mean I'm not understanding of the prices. I mean, I'm understanding for myself and my pockets as well.
Right.
All right. Not that I'm Mr. Moneybags over here, but the point is, like, I sort of know that comes with the territory. And if someone wants to make a buck off of it, because the reality is people are going to pay it, then so be it. I mean, listen, having an arena in Center City changes everything. Right. Like people just don't like change, especially on social media. It's immediate. Oh, stupid. Well, why is it stupid? Well, it's not where it is now. Okay. Good talk there, buddy. It's just like, yeah, there's going to be some cons and there's going to be some new hassles, just like anything in life. But I think it's really cool to have it in Center City. You still have that awesome dynamic of Lincoln Financial Field, Citizens Bank Park, and the Flyers with Wells Fargo Center, all right there next to each other. And you get the 76ers, who are deserving of their own arena in what would I assume will be a state-of-the-art, absolutely killer, magnificent arena. So there's no cons to me overall. I understand new cons will be presented, but overall I'm for it.
Yeah, I'm for it. But like I said, my biggest thing is it's privately funded. There's no state, city money involved, that none of that garbage going on here. And to me, that's a huge part of the conversation, Ryan, because, how many times have we seen the Buffalo Bills or any of these other teams getting new stadiums? Oh, well, the state's going to chip in about $1 billion or whatever it is. And I think the Sixers are like, look, we're going to spend our own money and we're going to make that money back, because what's going to happen now, Ryan? There's going to be competition for the non-Sixer nights. It's going to be, do you send the concert to the Wells Fargo Center or to the brand new 76 place?
100%. It's a great point by you, actually. It's not a point that I've really talked about at all yet. Excellent point. Yeah, it's going to be competition, and that's going to be, like we both assume and understand, a beautiful new facility, especially 10 years from now. I mean, look at the new arenas that are built in the past few years now. A decade from now, my goodness, I can't imagine. So, yeah, and it just brings a whole dynamic to the city, right? Like, it just brings a whole new dynamic to that Center City area on game night, or hell, even whatever else may take place there. Like you mentioned, the city should benefit overall from it. And like, I think it's a great thing all around for all those reasons.
Ryan Rothstein is the host of the Philadelphia CityCast. Subscribe, download it wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. Follow him on Twitter at WiseRye. That's RYE is the Twitter handle. Let's jump over to the NFL, Ryan, because one of the conversations that started yesterday and has evolved to today is Jalen Hurts. Not because Jalen Hurts did anything, but because of Kyler Murray getting $160 million guaranteed. And I was mentioning yesterday, there's only two quarterbacks in the NFL that have fully guaranteed money, Ryan. It's Deshaun Watson and Kirk Cousins. And you think about it, if Kirk Cousins, who averages 29 touchdowns and 10 interceptions a year, I mean, if Jalen Hurts did that, you're going to have to pay the man. Like, if Jalen Hurts has any decent year and the Eagles win even one more game, let's say the Eagles go 10-7, Jalen Hurts will be 2 games above 500. Kyler Murray is 1 game under 500 for his career. I mean, at some point, people are screaming from the rooftops about these money. But at the end of the day, market value is market value if Jalen Hurts plays well.
100%. But now this is where, and I shouldn't say now this is where, because I'm about to bring up Howie Roseman, and I was going to say now this is where I fully trust Howie. Forget that. Yeah, but I mean, Howie's a G. He's the man. And, I don't know who wouldn't want him leading your front office at this point, especially after the offseason they've had. But this is where he's great at these decisions. Whether it's an aging vet, whether it's a young player, or any player in between, right? Like, it's really difficult for franchises and front offices. Like, let's use Arizona, obviously. It's a tough decision to say, you know what, we're not going to pay Kyler Murray that money for reasons X, Y, and Z as it relates to in between the lines on the football field. We're going to go a different way because it's a safe choice right now to give him the money. I know that may sound absurd to some listeners because it's a bleep ton of money, but that's the safe choice. He's still a young, up-and-coming star, right? I know his production and stats, we can argue otherwise, but overall marketability, his name right now, it's a star name still. And then the verdict will be out on his official play and who he is as a quarterback. But right now, I look at that as a safe choice. And it's a gamble, right? Like, maybe it will work out and maybe Kyler Murray will pan out to be that guy. I don't think it's official that he is that guy yet. And it's difficult for a lot of teams to say, you know what? We are actually going to start over at quarterback, or we're not going to give Kyler this money for reasons X, Y, and Z. So I believe in Howie Roseman. We'll see what Jalen does this year. But I expect him to make the right decision, whether it's giving Jalen the money or moving on from him. Either one, I think, will be the right one, when that time comes, Josh.
For the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, which do you think could end up being the more important part of this upcoming season? Is it the fact that Jalen Hurts is in the same offense with the same play caller for the first time since high school, or the fact that they went out and traded for his buddy AJ Brown?
It's a good question. It has to be. Well, it doesn't have to be, but I'm going to go with AJ Brown. Just because, listen, he's in the same place, same coach, same coaching staff. But it's going to be the same overall, formations and style of offense. But the play calling is going to be much different. I'm sure they're going to try to incorporate some more creativity and some more passing plays and, passing formations and everything else. So it's not that much of a, complete copy and paste from last year. But I completely get what you're saying. It's A.J. Brown, because what A.J. Brown can do for you, Josh, is make you look a hell of a lot better than you are. And that's not a knock on Jalen. That's a compliment to A.J. Brown. You can have simple play calls where A.J. Brown's your first read. It's the right read. It's the open read. And not only does the play go according to plan, it goes better than according to plan. So we're going to see a lot of those plays and examples of that throughout the year this year. That's going to make life a hell of a lot easier for Jalen Hurts. So I have to go with A.J. Brown.
Now, the Eagles report the camp on Tuesday. The Phillies are back in action tonight. For you, Ryan, someone who hosts a daily podcast and you're constantly, you're on social media way more than I am. So for someone such as yourself, yeah, right, unfortunately. So what happens to the Phillies for you? Like, do the Phillies become backseat driver? Do they get, stuck in the trunk? I'm just using car analogies because you're sitting in the car right now. So
I like it. Yeah. Keep going.
Because obviously the Eagles are getting shotgun, right? The Eagles are going to be sitting right next to you while you drive your podcast every day. But what happens to the Phillies?
Yeah. What happens? Do the Phillies stall out? Do they run out of gas? All right.
You throw them out of the car. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Do they do a tuck and roll? Listen, Eagles, first of all, Eagles equal king. That's a simple equation that we can solve for X4 every time. So, and that's no slight on any other team in the city. Eagles are always king. Everyone knows that. But Phillies have a lot of intrigue around them right now, and there's still a lot of baseball left to be played. So I think they're going to take a back seat for a moment, the Phillies will, because people are going to be really excited to talk football again. Then once the Hall of Fame game comes around, once we start getting the NFL preseason, it's going to be Eagles, and rightfully so. And I don't think that's like a disrespect thing for the Phillies, but as long as the Phillies don't implode, no signs of that happening, knock on wood, then I still think there's going to be a heavy focus on this Phillies playoff push, come end of August and into September. The fan base is desperate for this team to get over the hump and finally punch their playoff postseason ticket, if you will. So I sort of answered it, sort of didn't. But I think they're going to take turns. I think there's still plenty of interest for our Fightins.
If Dave Dombrowski picks up the phone and calls Ryan Rothstein and says, Ryan, what should be my priority at the deadline? Center field or starting pitching?
It's starting pitching, right? And that answer does not mean I'm not well aware of the issues out in center field right now. But the arm is more important come playoff time, come September, especially with the Eflin knee injury lingering on. If they're able to bring a guy in here that's reliable and consistent as ideally a third guy, but even a fourth or fifth guy in your rotation, you add the depth there. That can also trickle into the bullpen, and it could impact the bullpen positively in some way, shape, or form. So you always feel better about having more talent on your pitching staff, especially in your starting rotation. Would you agree with that?
I mean, my instinct is always to say you can't have enough pitching. I mean, that's always been my instinct. Now, it doesn't mean that it's right for every team every time, but that's at least my instinct. I think there's a way they can walk out of here with both pitching and center field help. I just don't know what that looks like, because you know how the fans are, Ryan. If you like last year when they acquired Kyle Gibson, people were like, Kyle Gibson. Well, now he's like one of the most important pitchers on your pitching staff. So if you don't walk out the deadline with some big name, the Philly fans got to be educated by people like me for about 2 months about why the guy isn't a bum.
Yeah, Kyle Gibson's an excellent example by you, though. I mean, look at the season he's having. I mean, look at his last 2 starts, like the start in St. Louis where he goes 7 innings, shutout ball. Then in Miami against, the best pitcher on planet Earth, goes 6 innings of, gives, I think, 1 earned run on the way to a Phillies big win to start that series. So, if you can get a guy similar to that, man, I mean, that's a huge deal, right? And Bryce Harper returning, Gene Segura returning, that's sort of acquisitions in itself, right? Like if the Phillies are able to stay put and continue to be 5, 6, 7 games over 500 when those 2 guys return, and then you address the starting pitching need, you feel really good about where your team's sitting come mid to late August.
Now, speaking of the Phillies, we got to transition to it has to do with the Phillies, but not on the field, off the field. Ryan, this weekend, only one of the 3 Phillies games will be on linear television. Tonight, Phillies and Cubs are on Apple Plus. Sunday, it's on Peacock. And then tomorrow, it's on NBC Sports Philadelphia. So the first question is, will Ryan be watching both streaming platforms for the Phillies, or will he just catch the highlights later when it's on YouTube?
I'm watching, baby. It's in my wheelhouse.
So you have Apple Plus.
I have Apple TV.
Okay.
And I have YouTube TV, and I have the Roku where you just slide it in the HDMI in the back of your TV, and then you're able to download apps, a ton of free apps. Like I have the Peacock app, I have ESPN, I have all the apps I need. I mean, I'm locked and loaded. And listen, demographic, Josh, for under 30 years old, even under 40, whatever it is. So yeah, baseball needs to figure out how to reach the other audience. I'm sorry to our dads and our grandpops out there. The grandkids are going to have to help you this weekend to get the game on. But overall, I think it's a win, and I will be watching.
Well, here's my counter to that. Baseball, I thought, had an amazing Monday and Tuesday. I loved the All-Star game on Tuesday. I was thoroughly everyone who had a mic on played well, basically. It was great. It was a great moment to say, this is fun, this is baseball. But Ryan, they had the lowest percentage of viewership ever for the All-Star game on Tuesday. So it was like, hey, you had this great moment and great momentum, but not as many people were watching as you would have hoped. So it's like, is baseball really reaching who they need to reach, or did they already lose them?
Yeah, I mean that's a topic for probably an entire show. I don't know the answer to that, right? I think it's another great question by you. I don't think they've already lost them, but I don't think it's been a success, right? Like this is part of the legwork that they have to continue to put in. And I don't think this is enough. Like a random game on Apple TV, a random game on another streaming service, i.e. Peacock. That's not the answer, right? Like they need, I don't know what is, to be quite frank, but they need to do more. At least they're trying, so I can give them some participation trophies for that. But to your point, yeah, like they have a problem, and we've talked about this for years when you and I had a show. I mean, this is nothing new. So I don't know what the answer is. Do you think that young demographic is officially, quote, lost?
I don't think they're lost, but I think baseball needs to work harder at getting them. And it's not just putting stuff on Apple TV and Peacock. It's when you and I were younger, it was everywhere you went. The game was promoting the players. So many times today, the game is promoting the stadium, the fans, the experience, the broadcasters. It's like, who gives a bleep? Like, I want to see the players. I'm tuning in to see the best players in the world. I don't care about the peanuts and the Cracker Jacks. I mean, most fans don't even eat that stuff anymore.
Hey, easy over there. All right. You're going to get in trouble. That's basically like cursing.
I mean,
to
come
the
on.
Baseball traditionalist.
You think I'm worried about getting in trouble?
No, better not be. Now, listen, I think it's, that's true because it feels like, oh, we're selling the experience. It's a family night. It's a business outing on the, day games, whatever it is. They quickly jumped ship from promoting the stars. And it's like, well, why? I mean, there's a ton of great stars still in the game. It's not like the steroid glory days where you're getting a McGuire Sosa home run battle, Barry Bonds. Like, no, you're not getting that type of entertainment, but you still have stars that are very marketable and that can reach the younger demographic, if you will. So yeah, they need to reshift their entire PR plan because it's failing.
He's Ryan Rothstein at Wise Rye on Twitter. Check the Philadelphia CityCast, joining us live from an automobile near you here on a Friday. Ryan, enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch up on Monday.
I look forward to the full hour with you on Monday. Have a good weekend, man.
You too. Go enjoy some cold beverages there, my friend. I know that car is probably hot to you, but sitting there. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle City. More football talk on the other side. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joins me next.
Your official station for Summer at the Shore.
Throws the runner. The pitch is a little high. Throw to second. Out at second. Oh, JT Real Muto with an absolute laser down to second to get Arenado.
97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Sweet, juicy Jersey Fresh peaches and nectarines are now in season. I'm Secretary of Ag Doug Fisher, reminding you to ask for our fabulous Jersey Fresh peaches today at your favorite market. Want the best? Ask for local Jersey Fresh produce.
Alert! We're under construction at Sport Hyundai in Egg Harbor. It's time to make room for our new and improved facility, and you're the big winner. We're clearing out inventory with our incredible construction reduction sale. New Santa Fe's, Tucson's, and more in stock and priced to move today. With Hyundai Assurance and America's best warranty, including the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Use our main entrance on Black Horse Pike. Construction reduction deals are once in a lifetime, and this inventory won't last. See for yourself in person or at sporthyundai.com.
This advertisement is paid for by Lacuna Ventures LLC. For terms and conditions, visit yourrights.legal. Attention. If you or someone you know spent time at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina prior to 1988 and developed serious health conditions such as non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, lung cancer, bladder, breast, or kidney cancer, you may be eligible for significant financial compensation. Call Camp Lejeune victims to discuss your case now at 800-260-3257. Leaking underground tanks contaminated the drinking water with benzene and other highly carcinogenic chemicals up to 280 times acceptable levels. Marines, their families, contractors, or employees who spent at least 30 days at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune prior to 1988 and developed a serious health condition, called to determine your eligibility for financial compensation. If you don't win, you pay nothing. It's critical to take action and call now. 800-260-3257. That's 800-260-3257. Again, 800-260-3257.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Come on, we're going to be late to the cookout.
I was just packing up my famous mac and cheese.
I hope you packed the Pepto, too.
Huh?
Pepto-Bismol provides fast relief from heartburn and indigestion. You know, that uncomfortable feeling after you eat too much? And after the deviled eggs, baked beans, and barbecue ribs? You're going to need it.
Barbecue ribs? I should probably pack an extra shirt, too.
Good call.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his fourth. But you know what they say, fourth time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Nature Valley has helped restore access to 10,000 miles of national park trails. And we're on our way to restoring even more, because every mile is a new memory. Life happens out there. Nature Valley.
Matt Black Kia wants to give you independence. Yes, independence. Like freedom from down payments, freedom from payments for 3 months, and freedom from your old car. Plus, if you have a job and clear $350 per week, Matt Black Kia wants to approve you today on any brand new Kia or pre-owned vehicle in stock, or one of hundreds of new 2023 Kia models en route, all with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. So bring any trade in any condition, even if you're stuck in a loan or lease. Matt Black Kia wants to get you released. Get cash for your car today, even if you don't buy a car from us. But why wouldn't you buy a new Kia? Because you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
Unapproved credit plus applicable taxes and fees. See dealer for details. Not all will qualify. Deferred payment through TFCU. Interest accrues from date of sale. Offers don't combine. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details. Expires 8/7/22. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. Now on Route 37 and Tom's River.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash 3 o'clock hour, being brought to you by American Airlines and Atlantic City International Airport. ACY now has your one-stop ticket to over 90 domestic and international destinations. Book your next trip today at AA.com. We're going to get more into the NFL now because, well, in the last 72 hours, it's turned to a very interesting week for quarterbacks between Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyler Murray, and, well, how it may impact some other quarterbacks around the league. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joins us right now here on the Sports Bash on our Friday edition on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, good to talk to you. How you doing today?
What's up, Josh? How are you, man? Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing pretty good, all things considered. You know, it's another hot summer day outside. I'm glad I'm in the air conditioning right now. So
absolutely. Well, at least it's probably not raining up there, is it?
Not today. That was earlier this week.
I'm about to get that 15-minute Florida rainstorm looking out the window. There's some, it'll come through quickly.
Nice. So yesterday the news came down about Kyler Murray. And, I love how the agent pushes the 230.5 because it's 0.5 more than Watson got kind of thing. But we know it's 160 million guaranteed. I want to get your thoughts on it because, Murray a few months ago, he scrubs his social media, all kinds of stories about how disgruntled he is, how he wants a contract extension, and the Cardinals gave it to him just for training camp. But on the flip side, Lamar Jackson showed up at training camp early, and he don't have a contract. So, Rob, what gives?
Yeah, I think this is a crazy contract that Kyler Murray got, and it's just a state of where we are now in the NFL. But if Kyler Murray, who has never won a playoff game in 3 years, albeit it's only 3 years, but he's 3 years into his NFL career, has not won a playoff game, and his teams have tapered down the stretch 2 years in a row, gets $46.1 million average annual salary. Then what is Lamar worth? Then what is, for Eagles fans, Jalen Hurts worth? Because I would argue that Jalen Hurts may not be that far away from being a Kyler Murray or better than. So this to me is a ludicrous contract, did not have to be signed. Now, I know he wanted it. I know he went through that whole ordeal. But I would think some teams, someone at some point, Josh, has to take a stand and say, play out your rookie contract or at least go into the final year. He's going through, he was under team control for 2 more years before they have to give him that contract. Play out 1 more year. Why don't you prove it 1 more year before you get this astronomical amount of money? And the way things are trending now, with quarterbacks being in the 50 million, 45, 46, Aaron Rodgers, at least Aaron Rodgers is 2-time defending, reigning NFL MVP, already has won a Super Bowl, hasn't won one in 12 plus years, but you can justify him getting that 50. Kyler Murray, it just blows my mind.
Now, you mentioned Jalen Hurts. That's kind of the other side of this coin because Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts got a lot in common. They're both quarterbacks who transferred to Oklahoma. They had very similar stats at Oklahoma as well in that same offense. They're 2 guys who've gone through multiple coordinators before getting a stable situation. So if Kyler Murray is able to get this money for what he's done, Rob, he's 1 game under 500 as a starting quarterback. If the Eagles go 10-7 this year, Jalen Hurts will be 2 games over 500 as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, and you can make the argument that Jalen Hurts would deserve more money, which who would have thought that he would even be in that conversation? We're still a long way away from figuring that out with Jalen. I still don't know if he's going to be the long-term answer, and I don't know that he's not the long-term answer yet. I need to see. But the Eagles are uniquely positioned in the NFL where they drafted a starting quarterback who was in the 2nd round. So the financials are different for them already. The length of his rookie deal is different. So they're in a much better spot because of the flexibility that they have to where they can evaluate Jalen Hurts for 1 more season and not be pressured into what the Cardinals felt, being pressured into giving a long-term extension and making this commitment to a quarterback who I still feel the jury's still out on. I know he's a 2-time Pro Bowl quarterback, but I'm not convinced with Kyler. I would feel better about Jalen Hurts if he does exactly what he did last year for the Eagles and makes a little bit more strides in his passing. Obviously, we know what he can do on the ground, and he can lead the rushing attack, and he did last year with over 900-plus yards. But if he takes some strides in the passing game, if he completes some of those passes that he was a little bit reluctant to make, those over-the-middle shots, if you see some improvement there with his accuracy, with his decision-making, I don't know how the Eagles could then, at the end of the season, say, well, yeah, now we got to lock him up.
I'm going to throw another name into this conversation because Kirk Cousins was the first guy to get fully guaranteed money as a quarterback with the Vikings. Yeah. He averages, Rob, for 7 years, 29 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. 6 of the 7 years, he has over 4,000 passing yards. I feel pretty safe saying that if Jalen Hurts went out and had 29 touchdowns and 10 interceptions and 4,000 passing yards, every Eagle fan would be like, I love this guy.
Yeah. We know what some of the stats can look like, right, Josh? And they don't necessarily always translate into meaningful wins. And by that, I mean wins in January that lead you into February. And there are a lot of guys in this era of passing football in the NFL who are able to put up those numbers that Kirk Cousins has put up. And I'm not an anti-Cousins guy like a lot of people out there are. I think Kirk Cousins is a winning type quarterback, although he's not a Super Bowl caliber, elite level quarterback. I think he's a guy in that second tier, lower end of that second tier, higher third tier than he is in that. To me, the top tier is shorter and smaller than many think. If we had to tier them, I don't even know where I would place Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, and Lamar Jackson, and some of the guys who are up for these. Like, what's Lamar going to get? So when I look at Jalen, if he gives you 29 and 10 and 4,000 yards and probably rushes close to 1,000 yards, how do you argue against him being that guy? It's hard to. But then you can also look at, what did Carson Wentz have last year? 29 and 7 or something close to that. And the Colts couldn't get him out of there fast enough. Now, I know there was other issues surrounding that and the vaccine and Irsay not being an Irsay kind of guy and all that stuff. But still, some of those, you look at those numbers and go, wow, that's a pretty good year for a quarterback. And now he's on his third team in 3 years.
Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press covers the NFL, joining us here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. The other quarterback story this week is Jimmy Garoppolo, because 49ers have given him permission to go get a trade. And it's like, to me, Rob, why did they wait to give him permission? Like, I understand the medicals and all that stuff, but you're telling me they couldn't maybe even work you on a deal for months now?
They did, actually, Josh. So that was a they already gave him permission in March. I know Adam Schefter reported it the other day as if it just happened, but he had permission since March, his agents, to seek a trade. Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk broke it down. He's like, this was already reported back in March by some of the San Francisco beat writers. Matt, I forget his last name, covers the Niners for somebody out there on the Bay. So they've already had permission, and what I believe happened is that there hasn't been enough interest, right? Because rightfully so, understandably so, teams aren't going to have any interest since March, even though they were able to talk to him, because he wasn't throwing. Now that he's throwing, in order to drum up interest again, the agent tells Shefty, hey, we put this out there, puts it out there as if it just happened on Tuesday or Wednesday. But it's already been something in the works. Now that he's getting closer to being able to actually play in the NFL and participate in training camp and play, now they really want to drum up interest and say, hey, he's out there, he's available. If you want Jimmy G, make us an offer. But you got to look at Baker Mayfield being traded and what the compensation was for him, the likelihood that you may not be able to trade him within division unless you want to see him twice a year in Seattle. I don't know. I don't necessarily know if the Niners are too scared off by that. If you remember, the Eagles traded Donovan McNabb in division to Washington. So that it could happen, but the market isn't there. I saw some odds today. You probably saw them too. The most recent odds, the best chances was him ending up in Cleveland. Well, I don't know if that's going to. They got Jacoby Brissett.
Cleveland just signed Rosen.
Yeah, and I don't think Josh Rosen is anything that's he to me, he's a 3. He's not even a 2, right? But they got to wait on the Deshaun Watson ruling and what that's going to look like. Is it going to be 4, 6, 8, 7? How much longer is that going to play out before they even get into the mix? And then Josh, you bring in a quarterback, and if you think you're a contending team and you bring in a quarterback in August and now got to get him up to speed that quickly when he hasn't been there, it's doable. It's possible. I mean, Jimmy G changed teams from New England to San Francisco in the middle of the 17 season and then rattled off like went 4-0 and got himself a monster contract. So it's possible, but I still think what happened this week was just in order to drum up that interest and get him out there. And Cleveland, Seattle, you still think maybe the Saints, I don't know, maybe the Steelers. Somebody's got to be interested. He's a winning quarterback. He's not a quarterback that's going to – I don't believe he's a quarterback you win because of, but he's a quarterback you certainly can win with. And he was one dropped interception from a teammate, Jakeski Tarr, who's on the Eagles now, right? If he intercepts Matthew Stafford, Jimmy G's taking the Niners to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years last year.
I can't believe he hasn't been traded yet. I mean, I just feel like, our team's got to be cautious of the injury history. I guess I'm guessing that's what it is, because he's had like 200 injuries at this point, it seems like. Because to me, his resume screams somebody should want this guy. And, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got Mr. Trubisky. The Browns basically threw a gazillion dollars at Deshaun Watson when they traded for him. And Jimmy G's like, I got more wins in the playoffs than all these guys combined.
Yeah, and I think it's the nature of the injury, Josh. When you're talking about a quarterback, right, and he's got a shoulder injury, that's where teams are a little bit more skeptical. They become concerned. He's got to pass a physical. They want to see him throw. They want to see him progress. And I wonder how much of this is also San Francisco and the price tag that they're putting on him, because and also he's coming with a hefty contract, and teams got to fit that into their salary cap as well. I think if I'm San Francisco and you're that close to being in the Super Bowl last year, you were that close. You were, like I just said, they were an dropped interception away from being in the Super Bowl last year with Jimmy. And now you feel like you're going to turn it over to an unproven second-year guy who didn't have that much experience even in college. There's a drop-off there. He's probably, obviously, everybody's going to tell you, way more talented physically than Jimmy Garoppolo. But can he manage the offense? Can he run the offense? I think the best thing for San Fran would be to keep Jimmy G as insurance, because you don't know what Trey Lance is going to be able to do early in the season. And in case he goes down, now you have a capable, proven backup who you've won with. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was the end result. I know they're looking to trade him, but I think in their best interest of the football team, that would be the best fit. Keep him right there.
Yeah, and of course, the drop-off, if they do trade Jimmy G, the backup would be Nate Sudfeld out in San Francisco, speaking of Eagle quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, Jeffrey Lurie likes Nate Sudfeld, right?
Yes. Jeff Kerr mentioned that the other day from CBS Sports. He dove headlong into that about Jeffrey Lurie. Rob, a couple things before I let you go. Rob Maaddi is also a voter for the Baseball Hall of Fame. I wanted to ask you, with the class induction this weekend, and get your thoughts on that. I know David Ortiz, the only main guy going in, but the Golden Era Committee has a bunch of guys going in as well.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny watching the NL Major League All-Star game the other night, Josh. And at the end, you have I forget who the other two were, but it was A-Rod and Big Papi. And they do this little tribute to Big Papi because he's going into the Hall of Fame this weekend. And he tears up, and it's a beautiful tribute and everything. And next to him is Alex Rodriguez, who was in every way a better baseball player with better numbers than David Ortiz. I know David Ortiz was Mr. Clutch, and he won a few rings, and he's certainly deserving of the Hall of Fame. But there's Alex Rodriguez, who should also be in the Hall of Fame. And that, to me, right there, that juxtaposition, just hearing A-Rod and having to be put in that spot where he's praising and congratulating Big Papi, but he's not going in with 696 career home runs because of the steroid allegations. And obviously we know he was suspended for a lengthy period of time. But I've talked to you about this and Mike before in the past. I've always voted the numbers and solely and strictly the numbers. I know there was some implications for Big Papi, David Ortiz. So we don't know who did what and when they did it and if they got caught and what they passed and whatever. Vote these guys in on the numbers so we don't have a Hall of Fame that's determined by writers who don't have all of the necessary information. A-Rod belongs in there. Barry Bonds should be in there already. Roger Clemens should have been there already. Heck, Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. How about that? Pete Rose is banned from baseball for betting on his team to win, and betting in sports was so taboo, and now you can't watch a sporting event without hearing a commercial or 900 commercials for one betting site or another, and they're on team. The logos are on the field, on the stadiums, on the TV, everywhere else. It's so hypocritical.
Yeah, this is where you and I are full lockstep, Rob, because I always say that the Baseball Hall of Fame is a museum. It's about the history of the game. It's not the Hall of Morality, and these voters shouldn't be voting with their piety. They should be voting on the meritocracy that is baseball. The hardest thing to do to me in any sport is hit a baseball. So if Alex Rodriguez or Barry Bonds hit a bunch of baseballs, you know what? I congratulate them. I tip my hat to them. But listen, and I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you, Rob. It's not on us to judge people's morality. That's somebody else's job.
Absolutely. Exactly right. And I had this conversation with Kirk. He right before the voting for this year and his last year on the ballot. And he said, if baseball writers are judging me on my morality, I'm okay with that, because there's he said, these are his words, not mine. His words are baseball writers. And I said, Kurt, I believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame. The issue with Kurt has nothing to even do with steroid allegations. It's his political views.
Right.
Here's a guy who's not in the Hall of Fame because of opinion, because of his political opinion and his sure, he might offend a lot of people, but that had nothing to do with what he did on the mound, 60 feet 6 inches away from home plate. What he was able to do in the postseason is one of the best pitchers ever. Bob Gibson, John Smoltz, Curt Schilling. Those are the guys I'd want to go to war with. Game 7 of a World Series, and he's not in there because of his opinions, which is sad. So it's unfortunate. Yeah, I feel like I can't judge anybody else because I'm not a perfect human being. Bottom line, that's the way it goes.
My position has always been, Rob, if Ty Cobb's allowed to be in the Hall of Fame, then nothing Curt Schilling has ever said compares to Ty Cobb. And that's where I come at it from. But,
Well said, man. Well said.
Speaking of, faith on the field, which is one of the places you had the Curt Schilling interview when you talked to him, who do you guys have on this weekend?
Bryce Hall, New York Jets cornerback, who started every game last year, a really humble, down-to-earth, wonderful kid. He started every game last year for the Jets on obviously a bad team, bad defense, but he was one of the bright spots. And second half of the season, he was really shadowing the other team's top receiver and did very well. And then next thing you know, in the offseason, they go out and sign DJ Reed to a big contract. They draft Sauce Gardner, number 4 overall. And now Bryce, heading into his 3rd year after being a starter last year, has got to compete for a starting job. So I got to know him very well this offseason. He's my neighbor here in Florida. So I just kind of watched him. He worked as hard as anybody I've ever seen. He brought a trainer in from California. It's like 110 degrees here. He's out there every day in his garage at the gym working out. So we sat down. It's a great conversation with him and his trainer, Cornell Jenkins, who also is a strong man of faith. So it's a very cool conversation with the two of those guys.
Faith on the Field tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. The encore Sunday morning right here on 97.3 ESPN FM with Rob Maaddi, the co-host of Faith on the Field and covers the NFL for the Associated Press. Rob, appreciate you jumping on today in the conversation.
Josh, thank you so much. Have an awesome weekend.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN. We'll check on the text board on the other side, 609-403-0973. And coming up, Football at 4 with NFL insider Adam Caplan from the Inside the Birds podcast at InsideTheBirds.com.
There's never an off season for the NFL. It's Football at 4 every day at 4 p.m. on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. SpringfieldMitsu.com.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions.
even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Come on, giddy up. Get a move on.
Where are we going, Tex? Tombstone, Abilene, Dodge City?
Nope, we're headed east. We got to get going. We still got a long ride in front of us, and I ain't gonna miss Chicken Palooza for nothing.
It's Royal Farms Chicken Palooza with great chicken box, sandwich deals, and more all summer long. Get a 2-piece world-famous box, white or dark meat, for just $6, and 10 cents of each sale will be donated to local charities. You can also get a classic, spicy, or deluxe world-famous chicken sandwich. Plus, you can register for a chance to win world-famous chicken for a year. Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Nobody wants to miss it.
Come on, you horsies. We're almost there.
Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Sweepstakes ends August 31st, 2022. Chicken for a year prize to be awarded as 8 $100 Royal Farms gift cards. For details and official rules, visit royalfarms.com/chicken-palooza-sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by Royal Farms.
Staples has everything for school at great prices. So this year you won't go back to school. You'll be ready to move forward and build that papier-mâché volcano.
I am not cleaning this up.
Ooh, yeah, I meant the kids. Staples will help them move forward. Right now, Crayola 10-count markers and 12-count colored pencils are just 99 cents each, and Staples 1-subject notebooks are only 35 cents. Everything on your list at amazing prices. Staples, we're not going back. We're going forward to school. Ends 8/27 in-store only, limit 30.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to get conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
School's out, but we are rewriting the math. 0 + 0 = 1 heck of a great deal at Matt Blatt Nissan. That's right, 0 down, 0 payments for 3 full months, and 0 mistaking. That only Matt Blatt Nissan has brand new 2022 Nissan Armadas, discounted $5 grand off, plus buy with peace of mind. With our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Don't see your Matt Blatt Nissan on the lot? Don't worry, you could be driving it home tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Plus, if you're stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. With 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 1.9% financing. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle, plus tax tag and $479 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 8/7/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Josh Hennig wrapping up the 3 o'clock hour here on the Sports Bash on a football happy hour Friday, I should say, 97.3 ESPN. I'm so football juiced up that I'm mixing up the dates and the names and the narratives and all that stuff. By the way, a couple things before we wrap up the hour on the text board. People responding throughout the show. 609-403-0973 is text board, or You can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, message coming in saying there is no Hall of Fame till the Hit King is inducted. Yeah, look, I have always said that, I've used the term for years now. I don't even remember what year I first started using the term, but it's not the Hall of Morality. We live in a world where people have become so quick to pass these broad stroke judgments on people, select people. It's this selective morality. And, whether it's Pete Rose with betting on his team, whether it's Kurt Schilling and his political opinions, whether it's Alex Rodriguez and Barry Bonds, for using performance enhancing drugs, we act like, these are crimes against humanity, these guys who did these things. I believe that you can't tell the history of the game without some of these players. If you're so concerned about what they did during their careers, put it in as part of the display. Put it in as part of their story. Put it in as part of, this was part of the history of the game. These things happened. You can't tell the history of the game without Pete Rose. He's more than just the all-time hits king. He was a game changer on not one, but two teams that won the World Series with the Reds and then later the Phillies. But why he's not a part of baseball now needs to be a part of the history of the game as well. Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez. Why do we have all the PED rules today? Well, you could point to A-Rod and you could point to Bonds. A-Rod was suspended not once but twice. He should be in the Hall of Fame. And, listen, the counterculture people, they all want to sit there and, rip people for having opinions. People forget that this country was founded by people who had different opinions. I was inspired after watching the Hamilton musical for the 4th or 5th time recently to actually read Hamilton's biography. And you think people say nasty things today? You should have seen the things they were saying about Hamilton back in the day. I'll just leave it at that. Coming up next, football at 4. Adam Caplan, NFL Insider. Next.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein. We got another great show lined up. Mike Carlin joins me in the studio. We'll talk with the sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan, who attended the All-Star Weekend in Los Angeles. We'll get his thoughts. Hour 2, it's the Beach Patrol Report brought to you by the Groundhogs Moving Company. We'll have the results and interviews with the winners of the Atlantic City Classic Lifeguard Races. Eagles, Phillies, talk and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
We all know it's fun to joke and laugh with our friends and loved ones, but did you realize a good chuckle is actually good for your heart health? An article by the Cleveland Clinic states that laughing can actually increase blood flow by up to 20% and is similar to aerobic exercise in terms of aiding heart health. Laughter also reduces stress hormones such as cortisol and epinephrine, which can cause blood vessels to constrict. This can also lead to a boost in the antibody count in our blood, improving our immune system. Now more than ever, we could all really use a good laugh. So the next time you're feeling a little stressed, check out an online comedy show, a funny movie or TV show, or something that just makes you chuckle on social media. Catch up with an old friend or family member that always makes you laugh. It just might be good for your heart. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
And Doug.
Chances are you're jamming in your car right now. And since Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance so you only pay for what you need, Limu and I are going to show you some safe car dance moves. Hit it. Everybody, check your blind spots real quick. Now hands on the wheel. Put them 10 and 2 and move your head like a bird do. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
We're Town Square Media, and along with the awesome radio station you're listening to right now, we're publishers of best-in-class national entertainment brands like Taste of Country, Pop Crush, and more. And when combined with our local brands, we can reach over 70% of consumers in our community. At Town Square, all this digital clout puts us in a unique position to help local businesses grow with powerful marketing solutions. In addition to local radio, we're experts at web design and SEO, plus targetable advertising solutions like streaming TV, addressable geofencing, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Spotify, search engine marketing, and so much more. That may sound like a lot of buzzwords, but really all that matters is we can deliver a relevant and ideal target audience to your business with data-informed decisions. No guessing, no waste, and you gain a trusted marketing partner with Town Square Media. Take your business to the next level. Call our Director of Sales, Jim McLean, today at 609-910-5247.
South Jersey's play-by-play home for the Eagles,
Touchdown!
Sixers, and Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. 97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Adam Caplan.
I have real confidence that our football operations can once again create a dominant football team.
Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. It's Football at 4.
Football at 4 on a Friday here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. And yes, the co-host of the Inside the Birds podcast joining us, NFL insider Adam Caplan. As the countdown is on, the Eagles training camp. And they've been doing an incredible series with Greg Cosell, looking at the other teams in the NFC East. And Adam joins us now here on Football at 4 on a Friday. Adam, how you doing today?
Josh, I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, so it's going to be great. So we're doing our NFC East preview because that's the team it's the division the Eagles play in. And I know some people, we had like 2 or 3 complaints about people are like, I don't understand it. Why are you talking about Washington? Well, they play your team twice.
Right.
So everyone else got it. A couple people backed us, and joining it was actually kind of comical. Oh, by the way, we're talking about our YouTube message board there, which a lot of people like to comment on. It's cool. It's fine. We also have the Facebook board community group. But yeah, so Monday we dropped the Giants, which was fun on Thursday morning. And the last of our series, it worked out. The timing was perfect. 6 a.m. Eastern. No matter where you're listening to Josh and I today, because we know with your app for the station, people do listen outside our area. We drop it at 6 a.m. Eastern on every platform, including YouTube. It's an Eagles preview, and it's great. It couldn't work out any better. We didn't really set that up 2 months ago like that. It just, by the luck of the draw, it worked out that way. So we had the Eagles be the last team because they report, by the way, in 4 days, and the first practice is in 5 days at the NovaCare complex, which they've been since 2013 when Chip Kelly took over. It was Chip's decision. I was actually working for the Eagles then. I do remember being so disappointed, Josh, that they were moving from Lehigh. Yeah, I'm one of those people who like to drive 90 minutes or almost 90 minutes sometimes to go to Lehigh. I love to get away, but no longer. I go to the NovaCare complex.
Well, in today's world, you can download the Inside the Birds podcast, have it for your drive. If you're coming down to the shore, you're going anywhere. So I encourage everyone the Greg Cosell is always great, but listening to him talk to you guys about the other teams in the division is incredible stuff. And I'm looking forward to Monday's pod about the Eagles as well. Adam, you mentioned about covering camp. So you have Caplan's Eagles training camp all-stars. This goes back to the mid-2000s. Talk a little about the criteria here, because you wanted to zero in on specific guys, and some of these names are incredible.
Yeah, so our Andrew Duchecko wrote a great story. Now, he only did Lehigh. I'm going back everything. Okay, that's something that I wanted to do, is go through my memory bank from Lehigh and NovaCare. But Andrew has a great list of. I'm going to talk about one player on Andrew's list, and I'm going to go to mine on offense and defense. And you'll like how I broke it up. But Philip Hunt was incredible. He was perfect for the wide nine. In fact, he was there with Jim Washburn when Washburn came in, and he came out of the CFL. Andrew listed he had 16 sacks in CFL, which is huge. Not only was he going to make the team, he was going to be the third end. What happened is he tore his ACL, and as I understand it, he was never the same. And that was a great job of scouting, though, because he was perfect for the wide nine. And I remember Andrew. Josh, Philip Hunt was going to be like my breakout player of the year as their third DN, but unfortunately, he tore his knee up, and he was never the same. So that was a name that if you really follow the Eagles closely, I know there's some listening that are diehards that know the Eagles inside and out. They'll remember Philip Hunt coming out of University of Houston, and the Eagles had such high hopes for him because he was a perfect fit for their scheme. Because you don't have to be really big physically to play well in the wide nine, and that because they always say you play the run on your way to the quarterback. But anyway, that was one memory. But my list, so I'll start on offense. And again, I'm going back to the mid-2000s. And this guy now, up till now, obviously, through 2021. Now, my role is he had to be a fourth-round pick or lower, meaning fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, or undrafted free agent. They had him at a strong training camp, not make the team, but get cut, either make it or get cut, and never heard from again. But I love the one-hit wonders, and I'm going to get into some of them. But one of the one-hit wonders, this is a guy, and I remember reporting on this, and you'll love this story, Josh. I've told this on Inside the Birds, but I didn't include everything, and this is stuff I can include today. I actually had to block people because they were blaming me. I was going to training camp. I would put a little bit on Twitter about who stood out to me. And Henry Josie was unbelievable as an undrafted free agent. 2014, Chip Kelly did not have personnel control then. He had it in 15. But Josie was a training camp superstar. He was unbelievable. But the information I was getting was he was not going to make it because he had a bad knee. One of the knees was not great, and he wouldn't make it long term. They knew this coming in. And I don't remember who they kept, but people were so pissed. Josh, they were blaming me for hyping him up. I'm like, I didn't say he was going to make it. All I was saying is this is what I saw, and I told you why they cut him. I checked into it. They felt that the knee was going to be a problem. He never made it in the NFL. He went to CFL briefly, and that was the end of his career, so they got it right. But he was a training camp superstar if there ever was one. So that was one. And then this next guy, Josh, a running back on offense, okay? Let me just put it to you this way. There were five or six running backs in camp in 2017. This guy was one of them, and is an undrafted free agent, Corey Clement. And it was one of those situations, Josh, that I remember his agent calling me and telling me that he talked to the Eagles. And he said, I'm just telling you, they said they're not, if he balls out, he'll make the team. If he does great. I was like, all right, so you understand he's got to beat out Donnell Pumphrey and some others there. I mean, he's got a long way to go, but listen, if they said, if they tell you he's going to be on the team, if he deserves it, then take it to the bank, then that's true. And that's what happened. And we all know, Super Bowl hero. And talking to the Eagles then, he was great in their offseason program, Josh, but because they're not in pads, you just don't know. He was great in training camp, easily. In fact, after the first week of training camp, they all knew he was going to be on the team, but who knew, Josh, how great he would be. And he was a Super Bowl hero. They do not win the Super Bowl without him. We all know that.
No, absolutely. And I love the fact you brought him up again because, you know, one of my favorite stories about him, I don't remember if it was you or Jeff who told this previously on the Inside the Birds pod about how basically, you know, Deuce Staley went to him. He's like, look, you come to camp with XYZ, you can make this team. And I know Corey Clement has mentioned in different interviews that, you know, he really credits Deuce's mentorship for him even making the team.
Yeah, we, Jeff and I, Moshe and I did we had an event with Corey in 2018 in the before training camp, I think. Either before training camp or right after the season, or right after the preseason. I don't remember, but I do know this: he confirmed that he had knee surgery, and the problem with him is he just kept getting hurt. It was such a shame. In fact, we broke the news when he said it. We didn't know that. He just told us. I was like, "Oh, thanks, okay." And he was great. Such a really nice guy. You know, his dad's a big Philadelphia sports fan. He's from South Jersey. And unfortunately, Josh, he went to Dallas, the Giants. He was never the same. He's actually right now, he is not on a football team. And really, again, Super Bowl hero and an unbelievable story. And I got to give the Eagles credit there because remember, let me give you the backs who were in camp. Ryan Matthews, you remember?
Yep.
Although he would wind up retiring, I think. Darren Sproles, Wendell Smallwood, LeGarrette Blount. Byron Marshall was explosive. Donnell Pumphrey and Corey Clement. He beat out Pumphrey for a role. They didn't cut Pumphrey till the next year. Byron Marshall, and it was kind of weird. Like they went with committee. You know, as Blunt as a power back. Wendell Smallwood was sort of like the third back. Sproles third down before he got hurt. And then Clement's role grew after Sproles got hurt. And just and the thing about him was he was more of a power runner in college. No one knew he could catch the ball like that. It's a little bit more than I expect to talk about Corey Clement, but I just want people to understand how unlikely his story was. One of the best stories in, quite frankly, in Eagles history.
Adam Caplan, Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, InsideTheBirds.com. Another name on your list of Caplan's Eagles Camp All-Stars is a guy who was a part of the Eagles winning Super Bowl as well, the former quarterback turned tight end, Trey Burton.
Yeah, this is interesting with Trey Burton. Signed as an undrafted free agent in 2014. Now, the problem with Burton was the reason why he wasn't drafted is he didn't block very well, and he was also undersized. He was more of a slot tight end. I mean, Selleck was the guy at tight end. He was winding down his career. You know, he retired after 17, but they knew they kind of targeted him, the Chip Kelly group, because they wanted someone as what they call move tight end, Josh. This is a great signing. In fact, he was not only a superstar in training camp, he was really good. He made it rather easily at tight end, so that's my one tight end. I'm going to give you a couple more on offense. Now, one of these guys I know personally, Rasheed Bailey. I've known Rasheed since he was a rookie and undrafted free agent, and I've talked to Rasheed a lot about it. If you remember in 2015, he was the superstar. In fact, here's what happened. It came down to him or another player. He was like the 54th player, so to speak. The Chip Kelly told him not to go anywhere, stay in a hotel, stay in the area. We're going to bring him back, and they never brought him back. And to his credit, he's revived his career in the CFL. He's a CFL champ. He's one of the better receivers in the CFL. So the Eagles made a mistake that year. He was terrific. They could have used him for depth. He should have been on the practice squad. And then they brought him back some years later, but they cut him. But nevertheless, he's played in the CFL. But here, this is the guy now. The guy I'm going to mention before we go to defense, okay? This guy was traded up, if you remember, Billy McMullen. Remember Billy McMullen?
Mm-hmm, yep.
University of Virginia was a draft pick, mid-round pick, who was also a training camp superstar. He was traded up, straight up for Hank Baskett. Hank Baskett was incredible. It was one of these situations, I remember, they got him in 2006. Every day, spectacular catches where you're like, will this ever stop? Well, it would stop in the regular season, and then he only played a couple years for the Eagles. But he was one of these flash in the pans where you scratch your head. Remember Nate Brown similarly?
Sure.
But Nate Brown had terrible hands. Like he would flash, but he had trouble in the regular season. Where Hank Baskett, he just couldn't get open in the regular season. But in training camp, no one could cover him. So, really athletic, 6'3", 6'4". He was a training camp superstar who would never really make it long with the Eagles or in the NFL. But this is why I always call training camp in the preseason, AAA baseball, regular season, the major leagues. He couldn't hit the fastball.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget some of the stories. I mean, every training camp, you know how it is, Adam. The fans lose their minds about some of these guys, which leads me before we get to defense, I got to bring up the other name you have written down here, Paul Turner. Adam, I will never forget the fans screaming, "How can they cut Paul Turner?"
And I'll tell you why. I'm a truth teller. If you know me well enough,
yes, you are.
I'm willing to tell the truth when it happened. And I'm willing to take people screaming at me. So it's 2016 UDFA. I remember I said he would later go to New Orleans, but I had said then when it happened, he's not going to make it. He doesn't run very well. Yes, he catches everything, but they want more speed. This was Doug Peterson's first year. They lack speed. He's a pure possession receiver, had no juice at all. Nice kid. He definitely was great in training camp, but he didn't run well enough, and he never made it. And I get it. You just nailed it, Josh. Fans, and I get it. They attach on to a player who tears it up because the media gets good access. They're watching practice, and they're just reporting what they see. And sometimes the fans see it too, because now the fans don't get to go to training camp anymore unless it's an open practice at the link for the one, and unless you're a season ticket holder, you could go to the link, but you don't get to go a lot. But nevertheless, I mean, you get to go to NovaCare a little bit, but you don't get to go a lot. But nevertheless, Turner was terrific, but he just didn't run very well, and people were mad at me. Another guy that people came after you about, I didn't know what I was talking about. I just tell you what the team thinks. You could yell at me all you want. This is what they think. They know more than you and I do, and that's what happened.
Now, flipping over to defense, Adam, I love that you brought this guy's name up on your list because Destiny Veo was a guy I felt like he just hung around the Eagles forever. It felt like every training camp, this guy was in the conversation once he proved himself to potentially make the team.
Yeah, Destiny Veo, I completely missed on him. Here's what happened. I was on my training camp tour. And by the way, mine starts next week. So on Inside the Birds, I'll be coming from a training camp when we tape those shows, and I'll give you a little intel on the teams that I visit, particularly if you play fantasy football. But anyway, I knew nothing about him. I just knew Veo was a undrafted free agent in 16. And it's one of these situations, I'm like, well, they have Fletcher Cox, Timmy Jernigan, Bo Allen, who was terrific. Roger Qualls was a draftee in 17. And they adjusted Hamilton. Is still in the league, by the way, still bouncing around. But Veo they liked his play strength, and he made it. And it was also a cool name, Destiny. I never met anyone named Destiny. So he was on one of my favorite training camp names as well.
And, of course, the other guy on defense, we got to mention a guy who hung around with the Eagles for a while, James Madison's own Akeem Jordan.
Yeah. Oh, in 2007, another guy. The Eagles have this great I have to, one of these days, maybe we'll talk, maybe next week, Josh, when I'm on with you Tuesday. But the Eagles have this incredible history of finding these undrafted free agents. I know all teams try to do this, but it saves you so much money under the cap. And Akeem Jordan, he lasted a long time. He started a bunch of games. Yeah, he was a good UDFA in 2007. He superstar, very quiet guy, surprised a lot of people. Yeah, he only not only did he make it, he was with them for a while. That was a really good one.
Now, on your favorite training camp names list, we mentioned Destiny Veo. How about Marvin McNutt from Iowa?
Yeah. I remember he was a tall possession receiver, couldn't run at all, and he never made it. But McNutt, yeah, that was a good one. Okay, no, don't give this away, but my quarterback, one of the all-time, because the guy must have been with 12 teams, he went by MBT, McLeod Bethel Thompson. That was just one of my favorite all-time names. He was a great one. Now, see, here's one for you. Chip Kelly's first year. And I remember being at training camp or OTAs, and he said, "Hey, Regis, come here." I'm like, "Regis? There's no Regis on my lineup card here." Aurelius Ben's nickname is Regis. I'm like, "Where are you getting this?" And he said that all Chip said, that's what he wants to be called. I'm like, okay. I was like, all right, Regis it is. And then here's a great one. This guy's a really good special teams player. And he played with Ryan Matthews with the Chargers. Seyi Ajir-Tutu. Yes, he was a tall special teams player who was with the Eagles in 2015. That's another training camp name, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah, it's sad that I remember McLeod Bethel Thompson actually more for playing at UCLA than actually signed with the Eagles.
Is that where he went? Jeez, I don't even remember. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I remember it because UCLA's had a bunch of these guys with like 4 names in their names. I don't know if it's like a UCLA thing or not. Like, Chip Kelly's got the one guy, Dornian Thompson Robinson over there now. It's ridiculous.
MBT. He was with a lot of teams. A couple more now. Okay, this is a family show, so I'm going to get the name right. Aziz Shatu. Yes, 2016. He played with Zach Ertz at Stanford. He's a tall guy, DN, who had positional versatility in terms of DN and D tackle, but he was with them for a couple cups of coffee. But it was one of these names is like you wanted to make sure to ask their PR staff, how do you say the last name?
Right.
You don't want to get it wrong, of course. So that was one, Aziz Shatu. And then here's again, this is a long time ago, 2007. This is one I had to ask a 1,000 times. How do you pronounce Pago Tokafal? That's how you say it. Pago Tokafal. He was an undrafted free agent in 2007. Here's another one for you. A 5th rounder in 2009, Finoki Topu. And then, this one was funny because they had a kid named Chris Samp, and they had the immortal Bill Sampy, or Billy Sampy, depending on how you. It's just weird. Like, where did they get? Like, what are the chances they get? Name me another team in NFL history that had 2 guys around the same time with Samp or Sampy. A very underrated last names.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Adam, before I let you go, craziest training camp story ever.
All right, I'm gonna do this one in 45 seconds. 2005, I'm at training camp, and it's a hot day. They weren't doing real 2 days then. It was one of those days where morning practice, afternoon walk-through, special teams or walkthrough. So I leave. I never go to special teams practice. I know the beat reporters go, some do. I'd never go. So I get a call on my cell phone. We had cell phones back in 2005. Hey, I was satellite, Sirius XM NFL radio, who I work for, and they called me and said, "Hey, are you a training? No, are you covering the story?" I'm like, "What story?" "About Terrell Owens leaving." I'm like, "What?" They said, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Oh yeah, he got thrown out of practice." I was like, he did what? So I got home, Josh. I just got home. You ever you want to pick up food or you do something like you forget something?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I don't want to go back. You're half an hour away, but you have to because you have to have it to make a meal or whatever if you're baking.
Right.
I was like, I have to go back. It's a huge story. So I drove an hour and 15, hour and 20. And all I did is go, I asked around. I called. It's funny because the first time I had to think about it, wait a minute, did I go back? And at first I thought I didn't. And then I remembered I did go back because I remember who I ran into to give me the 411 and what happened. I missed everything. And then, of course, I didn't go to Owen's house and for Drew Rosenhaus's next question. That was one of the most bizarre days of my career. I'll never forget it because nobody knew what the hell was going on until later in the day. And they didn't understand why I got thrown out. And it was just, you couldn't make it up. And I've always said this, that this would have been the best receiver quarterback tandems in NFL history if Owens didn't go off the rails. It's too bad.
It was absolutely a wild time. I'll never forget it. He's Adam Caplan, NFL insider. Check out the latest edition of the Inside the Birds podcast with Greg Cosell. And the next episode dropping Monday morning, 6 a.m., wherever you get your podcast, as well as the Inside the Birds YouTube channel. Adam, great stuff today.
Thanks, man. See ya.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM. Yeah, the Greg Cosell series is absolutely incredible. I encourage everyone, download it. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. Absolutely incredible insights from Greg Cosell on the Eagles rivals. Then Monday, they will break down the Eagles one more time before training camp on Tuesday is when the Eagles are back at the NovaCare Center in full force. All right, still to come here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Happy Hour Friday. Yes, Happy Hour Friday with Pete Thompson coming up at 5 p.m. CBS Sports NFL writer Jeff Kerr at 5:30. And on the other side, headlines to do my best 30 for 30 impersonation. What if I told you that Russell Westbrook would have been traded if the Lakers were willing to trade one more draft pick? Sound familiar? Well, we'll get into that along with other headlines coming up next here on the headline segment on Friday's edition of the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
Our love for sports is what makes us different from any other station in South Jersey.
Oh, yeah!
Number one for live sports and sports talk. 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. SpringfieldMitsu.com.
O'Reilly. Stay cool this summer with AC Pro and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get a $15 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro ready-to-use refrigerant products that include a hose and gauge. Beat the heat before you hit the road with AC Pro at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, I'm Andy, and every morning I wake up thinking about shaving. When I started Harry's almost a decade ago, the shaving industry was a mess. Flashy, overpriced razors as far as the eye could see. I just wanted a great shave at a fair price. Too much to ask? I didn't think so, and that's why I started Harry's. 10 years and 20 million Harry's customers later, we're still obsessed with giving you a quality shave experience. Sharper blades, a better lubricating strip, and making our handle grippy in all the right places. All upgrades based on your feedback. And it all comes at a great price. Seriously, as low as $2 per cartridge. These days, my mornings are a little bit different. Morning, girls. But I still wake up thinking about shaving. Our starter set has everything you need for a close, comfortable shave. 5-blade German-engineered razor, weighted handle, and shave gel. Get yours now for just $3 with free shipping, backed by our quality guarantee. Just go to harrys.com now and enter code TOWNSQUARE at checkout. That's harrys.com, code TOWNSQUARE.
School's out, but we are rewriting the math. 0 + 0 equals one heck of a great deal at Matt Blatt Nissan. That's right, 0 down, 0 payments for 3 full months, and 0 mistaking. That only Matt Blatt Nissan has brand new 2022 Nissan Armadas discounted $5,000 off. Plus, buy with peace of mind with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Don't see your Matt Blatt Nissan on the lot? Don't worry, you could be driving it home tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Plus, if you're stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. With 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 1.9% financing. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $479 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 8/7/2022. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Sire? I just graduated first in my class at stonemasonry school.
I know. That's why we hired you.
Yeah, cool. But I was wondering why all I've been doing is sweeping the floors and providing slop for the hogs.
Well, how else do you think you learned to stonemason?
By stonemasoning, maybe?
How does that make any sense?
Throughout history, people have always been undervalued at work. That's why Monster lets you search salary by major. Find your job at monster.com or download the app.
We know the best sweet corn in the country is Jersey Fresh. Ag Secretary Doug Fisher here, letting you know our sweet corn on the cob is in season and at your favorite market. Steamed or grilled, take some home today. Ask for Jersey Fresh.
Powered by NJM. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
With South Jersey information you need to know,
I'm Vin Avenue. New Jersey's unemployment rate for June remains steady at 3.9%, while the employment rate now exceeds pre-pandemic levels. With many New Jersey farmers struggling because of inflation and supply chain issues, a lot of Garden State residents are supporting them by visiting farmers markets. And Tom's River has debuted a mobile sensory activation trailer to help better serve those with autism and those suffering from PTSD in the community. Get more South Jersey information right now on our app. Your forecast is next.
You finally got that new car, so you called your insurance company.
Your call is important to us. Please hold.
We are the tippy top, we're top insurance.
You ended that call with their jingle stuck in your head. Then, you called NJM.
Thanks for calling NJM Insurance. This is Claudia. Let's see if we can save you up to 25% on your auto insurance.
No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit njm.com for a quote.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chris Coleman for Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Get ready for a very hot and very humid weekend here in South Jersey. Clear tonight, not very comfortable with a low of 75. Sunny and hot tomorrow, 90 at the beaches, 96 on the mainland. And Sunday, even hotter. Lots of sunshine, very humid. Highs 90 to 98. Ocean water temperatures are in the mid-60s. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
This summer, it's playtime in Atlantic City. Play all day, play all night, and always play to win. Visit AtlanticCityNJ.com to press play and win big.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Happy Hour Friday edition of the Sports Bash. Speaking of Happy Hour Friday, the 4 o'clock hour being brought to you by Garden State Beer Company. At Garden State Beer Company in Galloway, their motto is a beer for everyone. Contact them today at 609-232-BEER for the Garden State Beer Company. Still to come, we got Happy Hour Friday with Pete Thompson, as well as more football talk with Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports. But right now, the headline segment here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. I told you guys for the break that it looks like Russell Westbrook would have already been traded by now if the Lakers would have been willing to trade one more pick. Here's the deal. So, according to The Athletic, there was a trade package in place that would have sent Russell Westbrook along with a first-round pick to the Indiana Pacers for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. Well, now, according to The Athletic, that deal is dead because the Pacers wanted a second first-round pick added to the deal. So, first of all, let me get this straight. In order for you to trade Russell Westbrook, you got to move not one but 2 first-round picks. I can see why the Lakers declined the deal. That seems irrational. Look, this isn't like Chuck Fletcher being unwilling to trade a first-round pick with JVR to open up space under the cap to sign Gaudreau. This almost sounds like the Pacers were trying to get extortion off of the Lakers. 2 first-round picks, and you're giving me Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. I would have said no, too. I got to be honest. I'm not a fan of Rob Pelinka, but I think Rob Pelinka got this right. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that, I mean, are you really telling me that Russell Westbrook is only worth Miles Turner and Buddy Hield? I mean, that just feels ridiculous. Look, I'm not saying that Russell Westbrook is worth a ton, but if I'm the Lakers, I just call the Nets and tell them, look, Russell Westbrook got a first-round pick for Kyrie and call it a day. Because at this point, I think Kyrie is going to be the best return that the Lakers can possibly get. Okay? It's absolutely ridiculous. This is an absolute mess. All right? Couple other news stories. So I don't know. So you guys know that the Kyler Murray deal was announced. Okay, Kyler Murray's getting this big contract. Well, apparently this happened just less than an hour ago. Kyler Murray was at a press conference, and the reporter, this is what they asked him and Steve Keim, the Cardinals GM, about in the aftermath of Kyler Murray's new contract. We're talking baseball.
Like, Kyler, can we put a quash to baseball now? What is it? Put a squash to baseball.
Oh, man. So what?
Did you guys see the payroll of the Oakland A's versus his contract? Enough said.
What's up? Yeah, I'm where I want to be. I'm where I want to be.
I mean, the GM of the Cardinals literally says, did you guys see the Oakland A's payroll versus Kyler's contract? Enough said. And Kyler, he's looking at the guy in this video like, he's like, did you really ask me that question? Like, am I really done with baseball? He's like, I'm where I want to be. Enough said. I mean, the look on his face is priceless. He's got this look on his face like, are we really having this conversation? And the GM, I mean, the line's priceless. Did you see the Oakland A's payroll versus Kyler's contract? Enough said. Look, I get it, though. The reporter's trying to do his job. Let me tell you something. Sometimes you got to be able to read the room. Sometimes you got to just realize that Kyler Murray is a guy who has a ton of physical talent. All right. And I think that I don't think we're ever going to see the dual athlete again. When Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson were doing it years ago, Brian Jordan, he played football and baseball. I think that era is gone because there's so much money on the table for these guys now. Look, if Kyler Murray became one of the top 10 pitchers in baseball, he's making $200 million. But in the NFL, he said himself that he felt like he had a greater chance of maximizing his financial income by playing in the NFL. And I think the contract from yesterday proves that. $160 million guaranteed, potential to make up $230.5 million. The GM's right. It was an easy decision for Kyler to make, to say, I basically want to be here. This is where I want to be. Okay. Look, I think that Kyler Murray is a very talented player. I would argue that Kyler Murray has some of the best arm talent in the league today. The question is, can he take that talent and parlay it into being a great quarterback? I think right now he is not a great quarterback. I think that Kyler still has a lot of lapses in judgment, and it's hard for me to tell how much of his development is a byproduct of him and his offseason training when it comes to some of his shortcomings as a quarterback in the league, and how much of his issue is Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not convinced that Kingsbury is a great coach. I'm really not. There's a part of me that really looks at Cliff Kingsbury, and I just got a lot of issues. I got a lot of questions and a lot of issues with that guy as a coach. I am very suspicious of who and what Cliff Kingsbury is long term. And I don't know if he's even the best quarterback developer. When he was at Texas Tech, it's not like he was producing great quarterbacks left and right. There was one quarterback came out of Texas Tech. That was Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes is a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Cliff Kingsbury isn't responsible for Patrick Mahomes being great. So I have to ask the question, is Kyler Murray going to become the best version of himself with or without Cliff Kingsbury? I happen to lean toward maybe Kyler needs another quarterback coach to mentor him as a head coach who's not Kingsbury. That's just my opinion. All right, one more story I want to hit in here for headline. So yesterday I put up the poll question that asked, in the light of the Netflix news this week, I wanted to know what your go-to digital streaming platform was when you're not watching sports. Well, when the poll closed, we had a virtual tie between Netflix and Disney Plus at 31.6%. 21% of the vote went to Hulu and 15% went to Amazon Prime. So there was a specific split between Netflix and Disney. Well, I bring this up because I saw this story this morning and I had actually first thought it was a joke. And then I found out it was a real story. So the president of Netflix, and I wish I had a better, I wish I had not, I wish I was interviewing this guy because there's so many follow-up questions I would have had to what this guy said. So the president of Netflix said that he expects the death of linear TV to happen in the next 10 years. To which my immediate reaction is, I'm sorry, should you really be the guy who's saying that? Because, I understand that we live in a world that's growing more and more to the digital side of the conversation. Okay. I understand that, there is a growing evolution of people who are moving to the streaming platform. That's why I asked the question yesterday about what are you guys watching? Because in the last quarter, Netflix lost 1 million subscribers. The quarter before, they lost 300,000. In the last couple of years, they've lost over 2 million subscribers. So, look, it's a part of the conversation. Where does Netflix stand long term in the pantheon of the digital streaming services? Because Netflix right now is the only streaming service that doesn't have any affiliation with the sports world. Every streaming service in some capacity has a sports affiliation. Even Disney Plus has all kinds of sports documentaries. Now, you can get those same sports documentaries on ESPN Plus, but I guess that their theory is that they can put them on Disney Plus too, because Disney owns ESPN as well. But Hulu has Hulu TV Plus Live Sports, right? Amazon Prime's got the NFL now. Apple Plus has baseball, and now they're going to be getting the MLS. Okay? You have all of these streaming platforms. Peacock's got all these baseball games. They got the golf. Netflix is the one that basically doesn't have that. And so when Reed Hastings kicks off this earnings report interview this week by saying that, well, streaming is working everywhere and everyone is pouring all of their money in the resources in the streaming, right? Then he turns around and says, instead of answering questions in this about his second quarter earnings, how Netflix is literally losing money, his answer is, well, linear TV is going to be dead in the next 5 to 10 years. First of all, I have a lot of trouble believing it, and that sounds like a guy who's trying to defend his digital streaming platform's relevance in the world. If linear TV was going to die in the next 5 to 10 years, then first of all, number one, why do people still have Dish Network, DirecTV, Xfinity, Why do they still have these things? Why are there still linear channels? If digital streaming is going to be the king and linear TV is going to be dead, according to his words, then why are networks still spending millions and millions of dollars on sports rights? Fox, CBS, ESPN, ABC, NBC, they're all fighting for live sports. The 50 most watched sports, television broadcasts every year are still sports. So is it that linear TV is dying, or that the majority of people who are watching non-sports are going to streaming platforms? Those are two very, very different conversations. So for Reed Hastings to dismiss his own organization losing money by turning the conversation into, well, linear TV is going to be dead, so it doesn't matter that we've lost over basically with the equivalent of 3.35 million subscribers this year. It doesn't matter that we are potentially expecting to lose 2 million subscribers this year. No, what matters is that linear TV is dying, so it doesn't matter if we lose subscribers. Look, I get it. More people are streaming their shows than they're watching them live. It's a reality. There are more people watching their favorite shows on Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime than are watching them live on CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox. But it doesn't mean linear television is dying. It just means that we live in a society where we're about convenience. Look, it's not always convenient for you to watch your favorite show at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Maybe you want to watch your show when you're ready to watch your show. Maybe you want to stream and binge your show. But I think the market is self-correcting itself a little bit because they're realizing that it's not as much about linear TV versus streaming. It's about convenience. I don't think that NBC is just going to die out and Netflix is going to take over the world. It's already been shown that even though Netflix is still the number one streaming service, it has the most minutes viewed, it has the most subscribers right now, the other streaming services are gaining ground, and the other streaming services are being fueled by the linear networks. If you are watching, for example, I know Pete Thompson, we're talking about this as well at different points of time, that new show with Jeff Bridges on FX. Well, you don't have to watch it live on FX. You can watch it on Hulu. The majority of the Hulu and Disney Plus library is content that was or is on network television. In fact, the entire Marvel Netflix lineup of shows has been vacated from Netflix and is now on Disney Plus. Amazon Prime doesn't spend billions of dollars to get Thursday Night Football if people didn't want to actually watch these things. Of course they want to watch their streaming platforms, but it doesn't make the networks obsolete altogether. I think the Netflix guy is trying to cover his rear. All right, Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on the Sports Bash. That was some headlines for you, 97.3 ESPN. I've always been fascinated with, how this stuff works with the streaming platforms and who owns what. It's an interesting conversation because, Peacock is owned by NBC Universal and Xfinity. And, at some point, I know that they're trying to start migrating some of their content over to their platform. The problem is that everything is not on their platform. There's things that are on. If you go to NBC.com and you go to NBC's website, there's stuff on there that is not on Peacock. What stupid idea was that? To me, that's more of a concern for the linear networks than Netflix is. Netflix is losing subscribers left and right. How about you be concerned about the fact that who owns what content and why isn't it on your streaming service? Maybe some of us do want to watch some lame TV shows that used to be on NBC, and we'd rather binge watch them and have to turn on our PlayStation and log into a browser online so we can cast it onto our TV or pull it up on our phone on a browser. I mean, how much battery that wastes? Come on. That's more, but linear TV isn't going to be dead. Netflix needs to clean up their house where they worry about what anybody else is doing. This is 97.3 ESPN FM. Josh Hennig hanging out with you, filling in for Mike Gill. Yes, happy hour with Pete Thompson coming up at 5. CBS Sports NFL writer Jeff Kerr at 5:30.
You haven't downloaded the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app? Well, go get it now to follow all the Philly sports teams at 97.3ESPN.com. Powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Did you take those big down payments?
You're darn right I did.
Your Honor, he is breaking the laws of Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. They made it clear. It's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every new Mitsubishi, 1 dime down.
Take them away. And at Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City, ask for credit amnesty.
If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit. So, what's the beat on inventory?
Other dealers are struggling, but not Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
40 new Outlanders in stock now.
An entire fleet of new and pre-owned.
New Mitsubishis from just $17,000.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, 1 dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville.
They service all makes and models.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
New 22 Mirage, 16 Ford, 9 down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than your
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Mom, Dad, I humbly suggest you save some money and shop Amazon for back to school. It's for my growth, meaning my body's growing at an alarming rate. And clothes you buy me this year will be very small very soon. Plus, the clothes I love today will be out of style tomorrow. But at least your wallet doesn't have to be my fashion victim if you shop low prices for school at Amazon. Hopefully this is helpful. Amazon. Spend less, smile more.
Doug. Chances are you're jamming in your car right now. And since Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance so you only pay for what you need, Limu and I are going to show you some safe car dance moves. Hit it. Everybody, check your blind spots real quick. Now hands on the wheel. Put them 10 in 2 and move your head like a bird do. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Okay, import footage. How is the hard drive already full?
Jawan's Pilates studio converted to entirely virtual classes.
What's MPEG?
But leading and editing sessions is stretching her too thin.
It says render failed. What did I do?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
With GMF financing approved credit. Excludes Corvette and prior sales.
Your car will never be worth more than right now at Bennett Chevrolet. Because Bennett's paying a minimum $7,000 for any trade, running or not. That's a minimum $7,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we have our best selection of super clean pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in years. And remember, we're paying a minimum $7,000 for even the worst car on or even off the road. Just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. And unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling new Chevys over factory sticker. Remarkable. Plus, at Bennett Chevy, there's 0% available financing. And we can get you out of your lease early. Any lease, any make, any model. And we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. For a quick quote, just stop by. There's never any pressure or obligation because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction. Find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN FM. 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. You know, the Phillies, they're not going to be on regular television most of the week. Now, I had this conversation before, and we'll bring it up multiple times in the next. I'm filling in for Mike Gill next week as well. So I don't have Apple TV Plus, all right? And the reason why I don't have Apple TV Plus is not because I'm anti-Apple or I'm pro-Google Android or any of that kind of stuff. I don't have Apple TV Plus for the same reason I don't have Amazon Prime. It's financial. At some point, you can't afford everything. And I think this is where, with the sports coming to the streaming apps, this is where people like myself are going to end up between a rock and a hard place. I'm stuck with what I got because it's the best option for what I can afford. I got Netflix and HBO Max, but it's bundled in with my Xfinity deal. So I'm not paying actually the full price for those streaming services because they're already bundled into my cable package. I'm paying for Hulu, but I got it on a discount because I have it bundled in with Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, which I'm grandfathered into the Disney Plus and ESPN Plus price instead of paying their new price hike. I'm basically saving money across the board here with this stuff. So now you have Thursday football coming to Amazon Prime. These baseball games are on Apple TV Plus. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place because I don't have them. Now, I've tried to find ways to save money. So my thing is, I got to make a decision at some point. People like myself are going to have to cut something out of our streaming lives.
This weekend on ESPN Radio.
Swinging a high fly out to deep left field. Pete Alonso goes yard into the bullpen.
With the All-Star break behind us, we head to Citi Field in Queens, New York, where the NL East leading New York Mets welcome Manny Machado and the San Diego Padres. The Mets and Padres. Coverage begins tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern.
Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
Matt Black Kia wants to give you independence. Yes, independence. Like freedom from down payments, freedom from payments for 3 months, and freedom from your old car. Plus, if you have a job and clear $350 per week, Matt Black Kia wants to approve you today on any brand new Kia or pre-owned vehicle in stock, or one of hundreds of new 2023 Kia models en route, all with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days. So bring any trade in any condition, even if you're stuck in a loan or lease. Matt Black Kia wants to get you released. Get cash for your car today, even if you don't buy a car from us. But why wouldn't you buy a new Kia? Because you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
Unapproved credit plus applicable taxes and fees. See dealer for details. Not all will qualify. Deferred payment through TFCU. Interest accrues from date of sale. Offers don't combine. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details. Expires 8/7/22. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Thompson. Rose River.
Did you book the Townsend's 10th anniversary ticket?
Alona's travel agency is overbooked and experiencing delays. She needs to land a new project manager to clear her business's runways.
Yes, Mrs. O'Hara, we checked. Pygmy goats do not count as emotional support animals.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Come on, giddy up. Get a move on.
Where are we going, Tex? Tombstone, Abilene, Dodge City?
Nope, we're headed east. We got to get going. We still got a long ride in front of us, and I ain't going to miss Chicken Palooza for nothing.
It's Royal Farms Chicken Palooza with great chicken box, sandwich deals, and more all summer long. Get a 2-piece world-famous box, white or dark meat, for just $6, and 10 cents of each sale will be donated to local charities. You can also get a classic, spicy, or deluxe world-famous chicken sandwich. Plus, you can register for a chance to win world-famous chicken for a year. Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Nobody wants to miss it.
Come on, you horsies. We're almost there.
Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
No purchase necessary to enter or win. Sweepstakes ends August 31st, 2022. Chicken for a year prize to be awarded is 8 $100 Royal Farms gift cards. For details and official rules, visit royalfarms.com/chicken-palooza-sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by Royal Farms.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker upper.
This summer, escape to the Jersey Cape, a place that's real and really charming. Come relax, really relax on our beaches, or maybe just sit on a porch and daydream. Explore our trails, discover our natural areas, or go camping, walk the boardwalk, visit a museum or a lighthouse, experience our eclectic dining, or try your hand at fishing and crabbing. Sample our homegrown fruits and vegetables, local wines, brews, and spirits, or participate in our outdoor activities, special events, and live entertainment found beyond our world-famous beaches. Visit the Free County Park and Zoo for a trip on the wild side. Enjoy authentic experiences where the arts easily connect to nature. The food comes directly from the sea or soil, and the outdoors go from birding to playing in the surf. Stay at a modern motel or a quaint bed and breakfast inn. Escape the everyday and pursue your passions at the Jersey Cape. It's authentically charming and sincerely yours. Escape to thejerseycape.com. Sponsored by Cape May County Tourism.
The radio home of Joel Embiid, James Harden, and the 76ers.
Dominate! That's one of the biggest dunks of his career.
We are 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill on a happy hour Friday on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City, driving you home. Got a lot to get to this hour. I'm sure we're not going to get to everything this hour. I feel very confident in that because we got Pete Thompson right now. We got Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports coming up in about 30 minutes from now. So we're going to try to cover as much ground as we can with the one and only Pete T here on the Sports Bash. Of course, Pete Thompson doing a million different things. You hear him Sundays with Billy Schwein. He writes about 20 articles during the week. And he's wearing all white today. Is this your summer look there, Pete?
Well, this was my BMW Championship hat that I got from the BMW Championship Media Day that's going to be played in Delaware in a couple weeks. So
gotcha.
It has a little bit of a blue in the logo, if you could see that carefully, right? And that matches the powder blue of the ShopRite LPGA. You know, it's a color scheme thing that I got going on.
Gotcha.
Plus, it's stinking hot out there. You don't want to be wearing a black hat.
Well, Pete, all I got is black hats, so
That's true. I have a lot of black hats. I get out Flyers, 97.3 ESPN hat, although it's been a long time since we've had those. We need to get those again.
That's true. That's above my pay grade, though. So.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
All right, Pete. Let's try to cover as much ground as we can here. We'll start with the sports stuff, then we'll get to the other stuff in a bit. So I want to start with the thing that blew up the text board yesterday. Okay. Everyone and their cousin had a reaction to the Sixers arena announcement that in 2031, the arena is going to be near City Hall. It's going to have basically the central point of all the travel hubs in Center City. You're going to be within walking distance, and you're going to have 29 parking garages by that point around the arena. Pete Thompson, your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, I happened to be awake at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's not a normal thing for me, but I was up and I was a little restless, and I'm like, well, I might as well get up. So I'm messing around on my phone, which is what people do when they first wake up, and I see an email from the Sixers, and I think, this is interesting. And it's like 5:30 in the morning, and I look at the email, and it had been sent out about 5:15, and I thought, holy crap, this is a big story. Like so they dropped it early in the morning, and I said, I gotta put this out, and I'm not Mr. Breaking News. I'm not Mr. like, let's put this on Twitter, but I put it on Twitter and I put it on Facebook, and I screenshotted or downloaded the renderings, what the architecture rendering of the building will be. And then I also put in the map, because the first thing, Josh, let's start with this. Right in the top of the release, it says that they're going to build a new arena in the Fashion District. Right. Well, I grew up in Philly all my life. What the hell's the Fashion District? I mean, come on. Like, if you're gonna make this big announcement, make sure people know where the heck you're talking about. All right. Now, apparently, if they had just said the gallery or near the site of the old gallery, then I would have known what they were talking about. It's basically the gallery was that mall that, was sort of the underground mall that was sort of and it borders right up against Chinatown and 8th and Race and all that stuff. So now I understand where they're talking about. I also know that at one point in my life, I had to have a procedure done at Jefferson Hospital, right? So if they had just said sort of near Jefferson Hospital, that would have helped too. But anyhow, apparently the Fashion District is some building that they kind of put across the street from where the old Gimbals used to be, and they redeveloped it into something. And well, that speaks volumes for what they think of the Fashion District. If they're just going to let the Sixers come in and build a building there, obviously that isn't working for them. My first reaction was good for them, because I feel like, I know, my own situation. I rent where I live. I would like to own a home someday. And even though the Sixers sometimes may do things that drive me crazy, it's their right to own where they play. And they've been losing for years. And the fact that they can't, get the revenue that they want to get out of owning their own building. So I was okay with it. I also thought, like, you know what? It's almost a decade away. So just because this announcement comes out doesn't mean the thing's going to be built tomorrow. Now, I put it out on Twitter. I put it out on Facebook. I think by the end of the day, I had 130 comments from different people on Facebook going back and forth about where you're going to park. And you mentioned the 29 garages that are close by, or, oh, it's not safe in Philadelphia. And there were some people that I came back at and said, I do acknowledge that. I remember when I went to Temple, and North Philadelphia was considered the bad part of Philadelphia, right? That was the bad area. Well, now is there any safe place in Philadelphia? I mean, anywhere you go right now with the way that things are going. But if you look over my shoulder on the StreamYard here, what do you see over that way? There you go. Right? Tell the listeners, since they may not all be on StreamYard.
It's the sports complex.
It's the sports complex, and it's not only the sports complex, it is literally the day before or a week before the vet was imploded. So I have this really large print in my living room of the vet, the Spectrum, the Wells Fargo Center, partially constructed Citizens Bank Park, and Lincoln Financial Field. Probably it was the only time that all 5 of those structures would be standing at the same time still. And that's what you have. You know, I mean, you've had so many places where they've tried to put stadiums, you know, especially when the vet was basically decaying and they didn't know where to go. They wanted to go by 30th Street Station, and everybody was all gung-ho about that. I think that would have been cool. And they even commissioned HOK, the architecture company that built Camden Yards. Like, how do we wedge this in? You know, if you could put in the Giants Stadium up against McCovey Cove, you could have fit a Phillies ballpark in the space between the Expressway and Penn. Ultimately, though, Penn was, and the Pluster, essentially, Penn was like, whoa. And they nixed the deal because they ended up putting their own baseball field there and some field hockey stuff and multi-purpose fields. But my take is that you asked me my take. I'm sorry, I just go on and on. But my take is it's 9 years away. You know, I'm on board with it. I think that, you know, people need to take a chill pill and realize that this is the wave of the future and this is the way arenas are going. And the Sixers have privately funded. It's not like you'd have a leg to stand on if you're like, I don't want my tax dollars going up, or I don't want state funds being. It's none of that. These guys have made so much money, Josh Harris and his crew, that it's their prerogative. If that's where they want to put it, that's where they're going to put it.
See, that's my biggest part of all this. And I think it's the part that nobody's talking about because, you know, they're mentally stuck on other things, Pete. But here's my problem. This is privately funded. So let them put it wherever they want. You know what I mean? Like, I understand the sports complex is convenient. People are used to it. A lot of people commute into the city to go to games. But at the end of the day, the sports complex was basically built around what used to be the Vet and the Spectrum. Now it's the Link and the Wells Fargo and Citizens Bank Park. The Sixers want their own arena. They got to put it somewhere, Pete.
Well, not for nothing. Let me peel that onion back another layer, too. Back when what was first called Municipal Stadium and then called JFK Stadium, the reason that was built where it was built is because that's where the land was. Why was the land there, Josh? It was the dump. All that stuff in South Philadelphia, the Link, the Vet, the Spectrum, JFK, all those things, that was the Philadelphia city dump way back in the day. Even before they had the Broad Street line going down that far, that was where you threw your trash. So, I mean, There's a reason that land was available. And look, the people that, and I get that. I've seen that some of the haters like, well, I come from South Jersey, and now you're going to add another half hour to my commute. Boo-hoo. I'm sorry. Like, then watch at home. Then don't go. You know, I mean, it's their prerogative to put it where they're going to put it. And you know, to try and draw the line of like, well, we're not going to go. Well, somebody else will, or they won't. You know,
well, the other part of this is, Pete, you know, I already had people messaging us yesterday. Like, there was a guy in Brigantine. He says, I'm looking forward to this because he said, I basically got to jump 2 trains and bam, I'm at the arena. Like, there are people who are literally already mentally planning how they're going to take public transportation up to these games. And, you know, you look at where it's located, it's literally near every train, bus, SEPTA, everything up there.
Now, I will say that's the one that gives me pause. I think Patco is great, but SEPTA is legendary for running late or not on time or not at all. So that one does give me a little bit of pause. But you're right. There's 12 regional rail lines, SEPTA, Market Frankfurt, bunch of buses, the Patco trains. You know, I mean, and people are asking, like, well, where am I going to park or what's it going to cost or this? Have you ever been to an arena in another city? This is kind of the norm now of how it's going. And yes, I'm of a certain age. I'm 51. I love the South Philadelphia sea of concrete. I think it's awesome. But you really don't. The reason that you're tailgating before a concert or a Sixers game or a Flyers game is because other than Xfinity Live, you really don't have anything to go there's no restaurants to go to.
Right.
Wouldn't it be great to have your choice of 8, 10, 12, 15 places to go have dinner before the game before you have to go in and pay their exorbitant prices? Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to go in and give all your money to the crappy Aramark food and you could go in and support a local business?
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, Pete. Look, I think in the end it's going to be fine, but I enjoy the differing opinions and perspectives on the topic, and literally it encompassed more than half the show yesterday, us talking about. That's how much people were like opinionated on both sides about the topic.
And I figured it would, and like I said, it was just that stroke of, I guess I fell asleep early the night before, like probably it was even before 11 o'clock. And I rolled over at one point. It was like 4:30. I'm like, that's too early. Rolled over again at like 5:15. I'm like, okay, I can get up now. So I get up and I'm looking at my phone. I see this, it was about 5:30 and I see this press release. I think this is a big deal. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that people are talking about it.
All right. Happy hour with Pete Thompson. He is the PT at 973 on Twitter. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on a Friday edition of the Bash. Speaking of Philadelphia sports, Pete, so you, the Philadelphia sports fan, has a interesting conundrum this weekend.
Oh, I'm pissed. I'll do a whole 180 on this. I'm none too pleased. As this started to gain traction and I realized what was going on, I proactively emailed my 84-year-old father and said, Dad, just a heads up. Tonight's game is on Apple TV Plus. You won't be able to find it. Tomorrow's game is regular. Sunday's game is on Peacock Network. Yep. You have Fios. You won't be able to find it. So there's my father who gets screwed. I see this argument of the people who are like, we haven't had Phillies baseball for a week. They're actually in the hunt. They have a chance. This is their first game back in like 9 days or whatever. Right. And you can't watch, like, I have an Android phone, right? So screw you, Pete Thompson. You have an Android. You'll get nothing like it, right? And then some people are like, oh, well, they're going to offer it for free. Yeah, if you have an iPhone. But I don't have an iPhone, so you'll get nothing like it.
Right. And now, for those who don't know, you can get Apple TV Plus through your Xfinity X1 platform. It's one of the many apps on there, so you can access it there. The problem is if you don't already have an Apple TV Plus subscription, that's where the conundrum is. That's what I was saying before you came on, Pete. So this week, I've been talking about the streaming services because I don't know if you saw the news this week.
Yeah.
Netflix lost over 1 million subscribers in the last quarter.
Disney took them.
And Disney took them. And in the last 2 years, Netflix has lost over 2 million subscribers. They're still the number one streaming platform. And with Apple TV Plus coming along and Amazon Prime building momentum and Disney Plus and Hulu, Netflix is really the only one that doesn't have any sports affiliation, Pete. So, there's going to come a point in time where people are going to have to make some difficult financial choices here, buddy.
Well, and I heard you talking with Weinberg on Wednesday and was chuckling as you said you have to bundle them. And he said, well, I have all three. Does that count? No, Dave, it doesn't, because you want to have all three at like the bundle rate. You don't want to be paying the full rate for 1, 2, 3. But, it's funny. I think everybody has Netflix because that was one of the first streaming services to come out there. But now, I have Netflix, I have Amazon Prime. Susan gets a bajillion packages, so we don't pay for that, right? That's included with her Prime membership for all the actual stuff that gets sent to the house. And I like the stuff on Amazon Prime. I have the bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, and actually the ESPN Plus, as you infamously heard, I signed up for last year by itself at one point to watch a Flyers game, which was stupid. And then I finally realized I better bundle this, so I've watched some stuff on Hulu and whatnot. I will say this. I have two things that make me mad. And then I get, obviously I'm a Xfinity subscriber, so I get Peacock and there's a couple other ones that are in there. But I tried to find this documentary on Nolan Ryan because we're in that weird time. Like between the All-Star game and I'm not going to watch the ESPYs. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not going to watch the ESPYs. Right. So I'm looking for something to watch. I see this stuff about this great Nolan Ryan documentary called Facing Nolan. So I start looking around and they said that it's available on Amazon Prime. So I'm like, sweet, I get Amazon Prime. Josh, I go in today, I find the documentary. I had to go to the spelling Findin, because I had said Finding Nolan, and who knows what the hell Xfinity thought I was saying. I got a whole bunch of stuff that was not the former baseball pitcher. So finally I go in, I dial all the stuff in, the page comes up, I'm all excited, I hit the thing. You can buy this for $19.99. What? I got to pay $20 to see what I want. I'm already paying for the damn service.
Wait. So this isn't actually, so it's not actually part of the streaming service. It's like an added, almost like a movie purchase.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, almost like you'd buy a movie on demand or something like that. Oh, and speaking of which, that Mike Gill, that Roman emperor, him, 3 o'clock high, $3.99. So we did not watch 3 o'clock high that night, but I might watch that tonight actually. Since I can't watch the Phillies, $4.
So part of the reason why I bring this up is because, with the Phillies being on the Apple TV Plus tonight.
Yeah.
The NFL is coming to Amazon Prime. Now,
yes,
they're selfishly, Pete, I'm trying not to spend more money than I already have to. Right.
I heard you talking about, I think they're still going to have to air it locally in the market. I think that's an NFL rule.
Amazon, yes, but not the rest of the Thursday night games.
Oh, yeah. Just the Eagles, the one
Correct.
Eagles game.
Only the Eagles game.
Right. Then everything else, you're trying to figure out where to watch the game.
So I figured I would use your and I segment here before I get to the other point I want to get to re-emphasize my petition. Okay. I have stated before that a local establishment or two or three should turn themselves into the sports digital streaming place. If you want to watch Thursday football, you could pay for Amazon Prime or you could come to my bar. Right. You could pay for Apple TV Plus or you could come to my bar every Friday night and we'll have the baseball game. I don't know why nobody's done this yet because I guarantee you, Pete, I'm not the only person who would show up there every Thursday night.
Yeah, but we got to read the fine print. A lot of times in places like that, if it's a commercial place, then they want to charge more, almost like the old pay-per-view thing. If you're getting pay-per-view in your house, it's $50.
See, now I'm going to pull a Gill on you. I'm going to tell you to stop for a minute, okay? Because I've been watching UFC fights, not at home, at local establishments for forever,
right?
Okay, and I've never paid a cover charge. You just go and show up, and you watch it at specific places that are not Atlantic City, and you don't have to pay a cover charge for that. They just want you to buy your food and drink and be happy, and you could be there and watch the fights.
But are you honestly comparing the UFC to the NFL? I mean, the NFL, who would slap a lawsuit on Joe's Bar and Grill faster than the NFL if they figured out that they were getting screwed out of some money?
They're not going to get screwed out of money. The NFL doesn't care because they're already getting the money from Amazon as long as you're paying for the service. I'm not telling you to go do some illegal streaming thing. You're telling me some local establishment. Look, like I said, these establishments have to pay for the UFC fight, right? Why can't an establishment pay the Amazon price and put it on in their establishment?
Well, let's see. When we get to the football season, I'll be very curious to see if this idea gains traction. And of course, you'll get no money for the idea.
I don't want money. I just want to not be forced to pay for another streaming service when I got too many as is, and I barely have enough time to watch all the things I'm watching. I got 2 things I'm watching on Hulu. I got 3 things I'm watching on Netflix. I got all the Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars shows I'm watching on Disney Plus. At some point, Pete, when am I ever going to have time to watch anything else? Because you know what, Pete, I watch sports. And
That's
I go to
the secret.
movies
Yeah,
in the
that's
movie
secret.
theater.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, are there commercials in your Hulu? Because it pisses me off that there's commercials in my Hulu. I was watching Only Murders in the Building, and when it goes to commercial, I get mad because I'm thinking like, this is something I pay for.
Okay, so I'm going to. I've talked about this on the radio before, and I'll mention it again. So I have completely worked the system here, and it's not anything illegal I'm doing. So through my cell phone provider,
Okay.
I have Hulu.
Okay.
I pay a little extra for the no commercials.
Hulu. Yeah. Oh, good for you.
Now, I used my
Because you're not
Hulu-
paying for the base stuff. That makes sense. Yeah.
So I'm already not paying for the base because I have it through the cell phone provider.
Right.
So I'm only paying for the commercial free part.
That's a good deal.
I signed up for the Disney Plus bundle with
Okay.
Hulu with my Hulu account, which means the cost of Hulu gets taken out of my Disney bundle with Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. So now the price I'm paying for Disney Plus and ESPN Plus is less than people are paying just for ESPN Plus.
That's good. Yeah, this is a win-win. You're gaming the system.
So I am proactively trying to save money.
Well,
And by the
whatever
way,
I
can
can
I throw
do
this
to
out real
help.
quick?
I have Amazon Prime. I don't know if Susan wants you over here every Thursday night, but you're invited.
Well, I was going to say, so the other thing I was going to say is it costs me less money to go out to a local establishment to watch the UFC fights than to pay for the pay-per-view and stay home.
Oh, I believe that. I very much believe that. Yeah.
All right, before I let you go, I ran the poll yesterday. I'll give you the results here, Pete.
Okay.
I asked the question, in light of the Netflix news this week, I wanted to know, when you're not watching sports, what is your go-to digital streaming platform? The voting is 31.6% tie between Netflix and Disney Plus. Hulu came in second at 21%. Amazon Prime came in fourth place. Pete, what is your go-to?
I probably go to Netflix first and foremost because I've had it the longest and it's the easiest. It's the easiest to navigate to me. But I have Disney Plus, and I'm slowly going to things on that. And like for example, I watched the Orville on Fox, and they put it on hiatus, and then when it came back on Hulu. So I just have started to watch, and I watched The Boys. I heard you talking about The Boys the other day, So I mean, I kind of go to them all, but if I have to pick one out of the poll, it's still going to be Netflix first.
Yeah, Jay in Atlantic City is very insistent that I need to bring back my Marvel DC comic movie show podcast. So
there you go. Just create some more hours in your day that you don't have, but that's fine.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. All right, Pete, before I let you go, so with the Phillies not on tonight because it's on Apple TV Plus, are you going to endeavor to watch them on Peacock on Sunday, or are you completely out on them on Sunday too?
No, I'm in on the Peacock. I got no problem with that. In fact, I watched a lot of the Open Championship from St. Andrews on Peacock Network. That one doesn't bother me as much, although initially I didn't like the Peacock Network, but now I've figured out how to work it. It's, and you can get bonus stuff on it. So I have no problem, putting that on Sunday. It's just, I literally have no connection to Apple tonight. So, and I don't even think I'm not that motivated to go try and download some sort of radio app or something to listen to the game. So I'll find something to watch. I got plenty in the DVR, got plenty backed up. I'll find something. But I won't find that Nolan Ryan documentary because it's $20. Now if Michael was over here, I'd pay the $20 because then that's like $10 a guy, and I feel justified for doing it. But
He's Pete Thompson, Happy Hour Friday with the PT. He'll be on this Sunday with Billy Schweim in the locker room here on 97.3 ESPN FM. And Pete, I'll be talking to you this weekend, and then we'll chat on the air on Tuesday.
Sounds good, Josh. Appreciate you having me on, and take it easy, buddy.
I'm doing my best. He's Pete Thompson at the PT 973 on Twitter. I'm Josh Hennig, filling in for Mike Gill. Back to the football talk next with Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports here on the Bash 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free. Thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle.
When you need live sports play-by-play,
Forget it. Out of here. Reese Hoskins will touch them all over that right center field wall.
And the best sports talk in South Jersey. There's only one place to go. 97.3 ESPN.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Did you take those big down payments?
You're darn right I did.
Your Honor, he is breaking the laws of Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. They made it clear. It's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every new Mitsubishi, one dime down.
Take them away. And at Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City, ask for credit amnesty.
If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit. So, what's the beat on inventory?
Other dealers are struggling, but not Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
40 new Outlanders in stock now.
An entire fleet of new and pre-owned.
New Mitsubishis from just $17,000.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville.
They service all makes and models.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
New 22 Mirage, 16 Ford, 9 down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
Okay, import footage. How is the hard drive already full?
Jawan's Pilates studio converted to entirely virtual classes.
What's MPEG?
But leading and editing sessions is stretching her too thin.
It says render failed. What I do?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Jersey Fresh tomatoes are the best. Secretary of Ag Doug Fisher here to announce that Jersey Fresh tomatoes are ripe and ready for sandwiches, burgers, salads, and sauces. Ask for local Jersey Fresh tomatoes.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
With South Jersey information you need to know, I'm Vin Avenue. New Jersey's unemployment rate for June remains steady at 3.9%, while the employment rate now exceeds pre-pandemic levels. With many New Jersey farmers struggling because of inflation and supply chain issues, a lot of Garden State residents are supporting them by visiting farmers markets. And Tom's River has debuted a mobile sensory activation trailer to help better serve those with autism and those suffering from PTSD in the community. Get more South Jersey information right now on our app. Your forecast is next.
Do you have questions about Medicare? For personalized guidance from a local Medicare expert counselor, call the SHIP hotline. SHIP is the state health insurance assistance program that provides unbiased help to beneficiaries, their families, and caregivers. Free. Call SHIP today at 1-800-792-8820, 800-792-8820, or visit aging.nj.gov. This ad made possible by the New Jersey Division of Aging Services with funds from the U.S. Administration for Community Living.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chris Coleman for Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Get ready for a very hot and very humid weekend here in South Jersey. Clear tonight, not very comfortable with a low of 75. Sunny and hot tomorrow, 90 at the beaches, 96 on the mainland. And Sunday, even hotter, lots of sunshine, very humid. Highs 90 to 98. Ocean water temperatures are in the mid-60s. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
With GMF financing approved credit, excludes Corvette and prior sales.
Your car will never be worth more than right now at Bennett Chevrolet, because Bennett's paying a minimum $7,000 for any trade, running or not. That's a minimum $7,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we have our best selection of super clean pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in years. And remember, we're paying a minimum $7,000 for even the worst car on or even off the road. Just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. And unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling new Chevys over factory sticker. Remarkable. Plus, at Bennett Chevy, there's 0% available financing. And we can get you out of your lease early. Any lease, any make, any model. And we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. For a quick quote, just stop by. There's never any pressure or obligation, because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid based on your satisfaction. Find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
5 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash being brought to you by American Airlines. The Atlantic City International Airport, ACY, now is your one-stop ticket to over 90 domestic international destinations. Book your next trip today at AA.com. I thoroughly got distracted as we were coming back because I was reading the text board at 609-403-0973. Shout out to the guy who deciphered how I'm saving money as much as I am. That was a great detective job. Well, he divulged how he figured out how I'm saving money on these streaming platforms. Oh, my goodness. That's great. Let's bring Jeff Kerr into the conversation, CBS Sports NFL writer. Jeff, before we get to all the NFL stuff, because the NFL always seems to find a way here. It's kind of NFL related. So we've been talking about the streaming platforms, you know, like the Phillies game tonight was on Apple TV Plus, right?
I guess show my parents how to get Apple TV Plus, and they have iPhones.
Do you have Apple TV Plus?
I do, yes. Well, okay. I have to. I watched Ted Lasso. I have to have Apple TV Plus.
Okay. Well, the reason I bring this up is because so this week I've been on and off talking about streaming services. I even ran a poll yesterday about it because so this week Netflix announced they lost 1 million subscribers.
I did see that.
They've lost 1.35 this year and over 2 million in the last 2 years. Over the same time, Disney Plus has gotten 2 million subscribers. So people are conjecturing that people are leaving Netflix, going to Disney Plus. So Netflix is the only streaming service that has no affiliation with sports at all. Everyone else has some sports affiliation, right? Amazon Prime, Apple Plus, Hulu has live sports. You've seen those commercials a million times. So my first question, Jeff, is you answered you have Apple TV Plus. Second question, when you're not watching sports, what is your go-to streaming platform?
Disney Plus. It really is. So my TV in my bedroom, I don't have cable in that. I have cable all around the place. I don't have cable in there. I watch all the Marvel and Star Wars stuff on Disney Plus.
Me too.
I do have Netflix. I don't watch as much as I used to. I watch, like, I used to watch The Ranch. I thought that was pretty funny when it was on there. And I'm nostalgic. I did like Fuller House when it was on Netflix. I will admit that. And I watch Hustle on there. Drive to Survive I watch because I'm a big racing guy. The Bubba Wallace documentary was really good on Netflix. But I don't know why I'm paying $15 a month for Netflix anymore. I really don't.
Now, my Netflix I have is bundled into my Xfinity package. So technically I'm paying less money for the Netflix through Xfinity than I would separately. The same thing with HBO Max. I have HBO Max through the Xfinity. And of course I have the Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus bundle, which is saving me money as well.
I think there were two things that are leading to the downfall of Netflix. And you mentioned one, Disney Plus, and you just mentioned the other one, HBO Max. Those two are by far the best streaming services, in my opinion. Like you could say user content and user interface and all that is better on Netflix, fine. But Disney Plus and HBO Max are good. I have Paramount Plus. Obviously, I get that for free because I work for CBS. They're actually really good if you ever get into Paramount Plus because in terms of original content, I think HBO Max, Disney Plus, and Paramount Plus are the three best right now.
So here's my conundrum I talked about earlier in the show. NFL is coming to Amazon Prime Thursday night.
I have to get Amazon Prime now. I never had Amazon.
I don't have Amazon Prime either. Now, I'm already paying for a lot of things. At some point, I'm going to have to make some tough decisions financially about what I'm going to keep and not keep at some point. I would love to pull the cord cutting, they call it. But the problem is where I live, the infrastructure is not good enough to get away with the regular internet service. You got to pay for the blast, which means you got to get the Xfinity bundle, so you save money. So my question, Jeff, is I'm waiting for an establishment to come along and do what they do with the UFC and be like, we're going to show Amazon Thursday night games at our establishment, right? And I'm surprised nobody has jumped on the same bandwagon with the Apple Plus for the Phillies games, because how many people go to bars nowadays and watch the Premier League, right? And that's on streaming platforms.
Exactly. And so this is what's tough for me. And I think you should wait too until Sunday Ticket, where Sunday Ticket ends up. It's going to end up on streaming service. Is it going to be on Apple TV Plus? Is it going to be on Amazon? My guess would be Amazon because I already have it. But the NFL can make more money off of Apple TV Plus. They can make more money off of ESPN Plus. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes. And again, this is one thing I do like about covering the NFL. I won't have to pay for app. I have to give in and get Amazon Prime, but I can reimburse that because I can easily say I would not have this if it wasn't for my job. Same with Sunday Ticket. Like, I don't pay for Sunday Ticket unless I am a football connoisseur, and I am. And Sunday Ticket is one of the best things I've ever gotten. But the worst thing I hate about Sunday Ticket is, and it's because they have Game Pass, you can't replay a game on Sunday Ticket. Once it's over, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, so the last thing I heard, I don't know if you have any different information, Jeff, but the last thing I heard is that it looks like Apple TV Plus is like the front runner for the ticket.
Yeah, from what I've heard, that's it. And I'm sure if you talk to Mike Gill, for example, because I know he's in cahoots with Andrew Marchand, and Andrew Marchand probably knows more than anyone. So, yeah, I've heard Apple. Apple's getting a lot of stuff. They got Friday Night Baseball every week, which is not good. I've watched the broadcast of that. It's different. It's not good depending on who's the broadcaster. Like the first game, this went largely unnoticed. And I'm a Katie Nolan fan. She froze in the 5th inning of that.
Yes,
first
I
game.
saw the highlights of that.
Yeah, and like you didn't hear. I'm like, what happened to her? Did she get sick? No, she was there. And I'm like, okay, but so yeah, but they're getting the MLS next year. They're getting all the MLS games. I'm assuming they're going to do a good job with that because. And again, they have to keep the local broadcasters around. So that's what I'm curious about, see what happens with the union and everything like that. But Apple TV Plus, they're definitely putting a nice investment in the sports right now. And I think they'll be getting better as the years go on. I mean, they're still relatively new to all this.
Yeah, I think that part of the problem when we talk about this stuff is because sports is like the linchpin for a lot of this stuff, you know. It's the billion-dollar moneymaker on both ends. You know, the leagues are making billions. The networks are making billions. Everybody's making money off of sports. And the NFL is king. So it's like whoever gets the NFL stuff is probably going to be the one that shoots up the ladder the fastest. I know that ESPN Plus apparently made a pitch to get the ticket. I'm assuming that whatever their pitch was just wasn't good enough because either to me it would have made sense because the NHL did that with the ESPN. They moved their whole
it's beautiful too.
Their live ice thing
hockey games on Plus last year.
Yeah, the hockey games on the Plus were actually impressive. I had to give them a thumbs up, and I'm not exactly like we got ESPN on the name of our station, but I'm not Mr. You know, I gotta say everything ESPN is great. You know, like for example, I think that the Jeter documentary is trying a little too hard to be The Last Dance, for example.
Oh, it is. And same with Brady's, like Man in the Arena, it's good, but they all try to be last. So this is a fun story. Like we always see people complaining about stuff being on streaming, right? Even though everything's going to streaming. There's a guy I bowl with. He's in his 70s, right? Big Flyers fan. He said, hey, Jeff, I got a question for you. And he goes, what's this ESPN Plus? Do I get that? Is it on my cable package. I never heard of it. And I told him, and I showed him how to get on the phone. He had no problem accessing ESPN Plus. He goes, oh, this is really cool. There's no commercials. Are all the games on here? I said, no, it's just an exclusive game. If you ever need to know when they're on, I'll tell you. So I think they had like 4 or 5 games on ESPN Plus this year. But it's funny how like a guy like that, who probably shouldn't be embracing streaming, can embrace it. And then you got people on Twitter just saying, why are they on Apple TV? Why are they on Peacock? Because if you pay attention to anything, that's the contracts they're making. These platforms are trying to make money, and they know live TV is the best way to do it.
Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports. All right, let's get into some of the football stuff. Kyler Murray confirmed today he's not playing baseball, that was a funny conversation.
Yeah, remember Kyler Murray would make more money playing baseball? What a joke.
Yeah. Steve Keim, I don't know if you saw the audio. It's hilarious. I played it earlier where he said, have you seen the A's payroll compared to Kyler Murray's?
Oh, yeah. I think was it Darren Ravel that initially tweeted that? Like,
yes.
Oakland A's payroll, like 41.
And Steve Keim said it at the press conference today.
Steve Keim is a savage. You know he's from, like, PA. Like, he's a savage. I'm telling you.
I think Steve Keim and, like, Joe Douglas work out together, you know.
I'm sure they do. Oh, Steve Keim.
That's what I mean. They both look like they're, like, ready to go be bouncers of the club.
The Arizona Cardinals organization. Their owner, Michael Bidwell, goes on the radio every week. Keim goes on every week.
Right.
You know, Kyler Murray pretty much talks whatever he wants. They should be like a soap opera drama, and they're not. Because everybody just remembers the letter Kyler Murray's agents. I'm like, you guys do know this happens here every single week, but no one cares about the Cardinals. So it's kind of gets brushed under the radar.
So with all that being said, let's bring it full circle here. So if Kyler Murray gets $160 million guaranteed, what does that mean for Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts is probably going to end up getting between $35 and $40 million. That's what's I think is going to happen. And if he has a monster year, and I'm talking like somehow throws for 4,500 yards and runs for 750, cha-ching, cha-ching, he's going to get paid a ton of money. And look, this is what helps Jalen Hurts. Justin Herbert's going to get paid more than him. Joe Burrow's going to get paid more than him. He's probably in that right now, currently, where Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott ranges, which is actually good for the Eagles because salary cap's going up. For those of you people who don't want to pay a quarterback that much money, I hate to break it to you. That's the going rate for a quarterback. It just is. So the Eagles have to decide after this season, do we want Jalen Hurts or do we not want Jalen Hurts? Because Arizona, I said this to a close friend of mine, Joe Bucks fan, who writes for the Bucks. And we laughed because everybody's playing about the Murray deal. And I said, I'd rather have Kyler Murray than not have Kyler Murray. And that's why he's getting paid $46 million.
Let's say Jalen Hurts, let's say he doesn't go crazy, right? Let's say the Eagles go 10-7.
Like
that
means he'll, guy, essentially.
Okay. What's that?
Like he's just a guy. Like he's not.
Let's say he's Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
Let's say he throws 28 touchdowns, has 12 interceptions, throws for 3,900 passing yards, has a completion percentage of 65%.
I think I pay him because he's improved.
No, you're paying him, but how much are you paying him? Because Kyler Murray got 160 of that 230.5 guaranteed. So, like, does Jalen get 120 at a 160 guarantee? Like, what are we talking about here, you think?
I usually go by average annual value. I think he'll get 35 to 40 million a year, maybe even go higher than 40 just because of how young he is and because he's improved. And Howie Roseman's really good with the cap, obviously. He did a pretty good job with the Carson Wentz contract. Initially, I know the contract looked bad at the end of the day, but if you looked at how it was structured, there was a way the Eagles could get out of it. I'm sure the Eagles would do the same with Jalen Hurts.
Now, what do you think Jalen Hurts does this year? You, Jeff Kerr.
So, stat-wise, this is what I want to see. I want to see him go up to that 65%, like you said. I want to see him throw more touchdowns, but I also want the running to stay. So, if he can run for 750 again, 10 touchdowns around that mark, and throw for about 3,500 to 4,000 yards with about 25 touchdowns, I'd be pretty pleased with that.
All right, Jeff, one more thing before I let you go, NFL related. I want to know from you, because the Eagles report for training camp in a couple days. So we're talking about Jalen Hurts. We're talking about Kyler Murray. We talked the other day about Jimmy G. Lamar Jackson showed up early for training camp, and he still doesn't have a contract, Jeff.
Did you see what happened after Murray signed that deal? What the Ravens did?
No, I didn't. What happened?
This literally happened like 3 minutes after the deal was announced. QB1 in the house, and he's walking and smiling. I'm like, oh my God, and he hasn't gotten paid yet. And then, like, I forget who tweeted it today. Someone tweeted something at Lamar. I think it was a famous person. I'm not even sure who it was. But Lamar did yeah, boy. Like, Lamar's getting paid. Lamar's going to get over $50 million. He might be the highest paid player in football when it's all said and done.
I really think that when people see what Jalen Hurts gets paid this offseason and then see what Lamar gets paid, I think Eagle fans are going to relax a little bit. Let's just put it that way.
You know what? This is my issue with Eagle fans. I should say every fan that just roots for a team. Please watch the league and not highlights. Like,
right.
Actually pay attention to what's going on here. Like, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen should be the two highest paid players in football, and they're not even close. And it's going to be like that for a long time. And just follow the league. Follow the trends. What's going on? Like, don't say your team doesn't beat anybody good when they're already in the upper half of the league. Well, yeah, because they're better than the teams they beat. That's what good teams do. They beat bad teams. That's why Andy Reid is as good as he is, because he don't lose the bad teams. Oh, by the way, did you find Josh? Did you see yesterday who signed Josh Rosen?
The Browns.
Yeah, see, he wasn't on the Falcons anymore. So we got a new team for Josh Rosen.
Right. Well, the funny thing was, so I did a little research last night. Apparently, the Falcons cut him because they figured out he can't run. Basically, is what happened.
He can't
it's like,
throw either.
I'm like, you didn't realize he couldn't run? Like, did you ever watch him in college? Like,
did anybody? We were talking. I was talking to a buddy about Josh Rosen today, and a mutual friend of ours didn't like him going up to the draft. And I don't remember him saying this because I know him at the time, but he said, his buddy said, this is why I didn't like Josh Rosen. How many top 10 picks have losing records in their senior year of college? And I said, oh, that's a good one. That is a red flag. It's like Ben Simmons and the whole
LSU thing. Yeah.
How are you the number one pick and not make the tournament?
Right.
Markelle Fultz, same thing. It's like, it's a weird misnomer to go by to evaluate a player, but the proof's in the pudding with a lot of these people.
I got to get going, Jeff, but I'll just say this real quick about Rosen. I always felt like he was handed a raw deal, and I always wonder if he would have gone to a different situation, what would have happened. That's all.
I'll tell you what happened. The Cardinals realized he stunk. They realized Steve Wilkes was a joke, and they cleaned house and had a chance to fix it with Kyler Murray, and they did. And now he's their guy.
I'll just never forget C.J. Beathard winning games for Kyle Shanahan. So I was
and Nick Mullins.
And Nick Mullins. Jeff, I'm a big believer that the coach matters in football a lot.
Oh, it does. Well, unless you're Bill Belichick. It don't matter.
Well, Belichick matters.
What's his record without Golden Boy? I'm a Tom Brady guy. I've always been a Brady guy. It's Tom Brady winning that Super Bowl was sweet. It was just sweet.
You are going to find out this year how legitimate Belichick is. Right?
I hope you're right, John. But until he wins a Super Bowl, I got the upper end right now.
Follow Jeff Kerr on Twitter at Jeff Kerr CVS for all of your NFL and helmet discussions over on the Twitter feed.
I'm right for CBS tomorrow. That's my job on the weekend.
Well, we'll talk about it on Monday, okay? Because
right,
I'm not a fan of the Bengals helmet.
Oh, you're not. Oh boy. I mean, I'm not gonna rank them number one. I got my number one, but yeah, we'll definitely have a conversation about that.
Jeff, have a good weekend.
See you, John.
Josh Hennig here, filling in for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. We'll wrap up the show on the other side.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
This summer, escape to the Jersey Cape, a place that's real and really charming. Come relax, really relax on our beaches, or maybe just sit on a porch and daydream. Explore our trails, discover our natural areas, or go camping, walk the boardwalk, visit a museum or a lighthouse, experience our eclectic dining, or try your hand at fishing and crabbing. Sample our homegrown fruits and vegetables, local wines, brews, and spirits, or participate in our outdoor activities, special events, and live entertainment found beyond our world-famous beaches. Visit the Free County Park and Zoo for a trip on the wild side. Enjoy authentic experiences where the arts easily connect to nature. The food comes directly from the sea or soil, and the outdoors go from birding to playing in the surf. Stay at a modern motel or a quaint bed and breakfast inn. Escape the everyday and pursue your passions at the Jersey Cape. It's authentically charming and sincerely yours. Escape to thejerseycape.com. Sponsored by Cape May County Tourism.
Looking good, Mrs. Dubs.
The head groundskeeper at Thad's Golf Course just retired.
We need to find someone in the next 2 weeks. Someone with botany and management experience.
He needs a replacement because the greens are already looking a little rough.
Water and aeration. They need to know it all.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Alert! We're under construction at Sport Hyundai in Egg Harbor. It's time to make room for our new and improved facility. And you're the big winner. We're clearing out inventory with our incredible construction reduction sale. New Santa Fe's, Tucson's, and more in stock and priced to move today. With Hyundai Assurance and America's best warranty, including the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Use our main entrance on Black Horse Pike. Construction reduction deals are once in a lifetime, and this inventory won't last. See for yourself in person or at sporthyundai.com.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Hey, Pete, how's business? It's great. Foot traffic's still way down, but more people are finding me online. Nice. How'd you pull that off? Well, the first thing I did was go to mylocalcustomers.com to see exactly how many searches there were for businesses like mine. So I guess there were a lot? Yeah, there were hundreds of local searches every month. So after I saw that, they helped me position my business online to get in front of those customers. That's awesome. I wonder how many people are searching for my services around here. Well, it's quick and easy to get the answer. Plus, it's free. Just go to mylocalcustomers.com to find out. If there are a lot of searches, you should definitely get in front of them. If there aren't, no harm, no foul.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Now, back to more Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
All right, wrapping up the show. Josh Hennig here. Friday. Weekend is here, folks. I say this very often, but I just want to say it again. First of all, thanks to everybody for listening to the show. I always appreciate all the texts, everybody chiming in, joining the conversation on the plethora of topics we hit on. Also, thanks to Jeff Kerr for joining the show, Pete Thompson, Adam Caplan, Rob Maaddi, Ryan Rothstein, Mike McGarry. We got Billy Schwein in the locker room tomorrow and Sunday at 10 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. And I'll be back on Monday filling in for Mike Gill as he is on his vacation. Everyone enjoy the weekend. Be safe. Be responsible. Take care of yourselves. It's supposed to be a hot weekend, so stay hydrated. Again, please be safe. There's a lot of crazy people out there who are not being responsible with their time. So please take care of yourselves. Enjoy yourselves. Hopefully the Phillies win tonight because nobody will be able to watch it.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein. We got another great show lined up. Mike Carlin joins me in the studio. We'll talk with the sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan, who attended the All-Star Weekend in Los Angeles. We'll get his thoughts. Hour 2, it's the Beach Patrol Report brought to you by the Groundhogs Moving Company. We'll have the results and interviews with the winners of the Atlantic City Classic lifeguard races. Eagles, Phillies talk and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app.